Alright, we're back again on a Sunday, and I think I'm going to do a little bit more Raging Loop. Last time, we ended up finishing the first initial loop, and then went over a bit more where the character was discussing that he's remembering that he went through the first loop. So currently we know exactly who the wolves are, and my assumption is the new tactics we're going to have to figure out is how to convince everyone to vote correctly on who the wolves are. Because if we can't convince them to vote correctly, then even though we know who they are, we won't be able to get them hanged. So that, I assume, is going to be the next one. There's also been a couple extra paths that's tried to push me that just have gone nowhere, which is weird. Like, they don't have any relevance at all. And, like, I can get that a few times, but there's, like, a couple times where they're just like, leave, and you leave, and they like, well, you die. Do you remember that you left it early and died? No, you don't. How about you go a little bit further and then leave? Nope, that doesn't work either. Oh, okay. Then why was that even an option? Like, why am I here? Like, why would I get two options to leave and then die if my character doesn't remember and goes, no, I'm definitely locked in this loop. I have no idea. However, now there's another option to go to another village as well that seems to be there besides going back, but we need more information to do that, so there is at least something there. But it looks like the path that we're being guided down is going back to the village, meeting everybody again, starting over from day one, and trying to get them to vote properly to vote the wolves out. So let's see what's in store for me to read. Let's see. Because from what I can tell, the game is supposed to be around 40 hours. And that's without me reading it out loud and then also talking with chat and just saying whatever is on my mind about what's happening. So we're 10 hours in. So we're about probably a little bit less than a fourth of the way in. So there's a decent amount to go. Okay, yeah. Volume should be back on where it's supposed to be. Yeah, let's see where this goes. So the two people who are the wolves that we know is the old lady and the one son, the guy with glasses. And then the one guy's daughter is also an enemy because even though they think originally, we were told that the people who were sent here to this village were sent here and they're outcasts, and that the god of the mountain made up a game where wolves could kill people in the village, and the villagers had to try to vote out the wolves. But he also gave them people to protect them because the whole point was to try to figure out who the wolves are. But it seemed like he was doing this. This was meant to be a punishment for the villagers. Well, some of the villagers heard from the village next to them, where they were exiled from, that no. The point of the wolves is that the wolves are supposed to kill everybody. So that cleanses the village. So it's not so that might be some kind of twisted way of how it's supposed to be, that the other village they were exiled from is, try to convince them that it was. That's my thought. And that we might actually have to go back, because there is one where we get to go to that village. So we probably get to find out more about the lore. Maybe we can use that to eventually convince some people, but we have to figure it out. But there's also does seem to be a bit of a supernatural addition, because when people break the rules of the game, bad things happen to them. They are either completely crushed to bits, or they're eaten by some kind of thing, where one of the villagers even fought back and they had like hair in his mouth. And then the lady who's on the right here, she just turned into some kind of ghoul trying to bite and eat people. And we don't know why that happened. They tried to pass it off as some kind of lesser corruption, but the person who told us that was one of the wolves. So that's kind of bullshit. So something happened to one of the people here, maybe altering their mind or something. I have no idea. But so this lady definitely had something happen to her as well. So some people have been being killed by, some other force that's not the wolves. So something is forcing them to stay in the rule set. But that, once again, the outside villagers told the wolves that they are supposed to kill the other villagers, because you're actually cleansing the evil of the village. And that's the only way to save these other outcast souls. Which could be complete bullshit. The other village could be completely in on this, absolutely having, fucking with everybody to make sure these, in quote, rules are followed. Because it really does seem like the whole point is to punish everybody. The wolves have to kill the people they love. The people in the town have to watch people they've been really close with for at least a decade or more slowly die around them. And they even have to vote who they hang, which they could be hanging someone they actually like. So a lot of this seems to be just to torture whoever is in this village. For what reason? Who really knows? I kind of feel like it has something to do with the other village. There's something else going on there. So it might end up being something mundane and not magical, which is still my guess. But so far, a lot of it seems magical. But yeah, we're going to continue from here. Okay, so this was No, is this save where I saved? Or did it... No, it didn't start before the last one. Okay. Is this the last choice that it was? Anyway, it was already raining. I think this is where I chose to go back to the main city, or the main town, where everything's going on, because everything else was locked or got me killed. So it was already raining, and I knew it was only getting worse. I had to do something before that happened. There were next to no city lights, and not a single house I could see that was lit up either. However, unlike... Oh, that's right. I chose to go to the other city. Yeah. Unlike Yasumizu, the destitute place where most of the houses had been built from wood and houses were... However, unlike Yasumizu, the destitute place where most of the houses had been built from wood, the houses here were modern. The road was well paved, too. I could even see some bus stops and vending machines, emphasizing that this was modern Japan. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I chose to go to the more modern city because I want to find out more information before I go back to the main killing game. Okay. Even if they have an inn or something, I doubt they'd accept someone barging in so late. Some would think there was a way for me to at least get to a roof over my head, but I knew that was just a city dweller misconception. Same went for the idea that rural folk were nice enough to let you stay if you just asked nicely. That was pure delusion. In actuality, rural areas were subject to local legends, traditions, and many of the residents believed good, peaceful lives are only possible thanks to their protection. Of course, that wasn't always wrong, but that was also the reason why many rural people were so cold to outsiders. Hell, this was a village so behind in times it still had a settlement for the ostracized, which they discriminated against so badly. This place was probably even more insular than your average rural village. They wouldn't take kindly to an outsider like me and would probably be wary the entire time I stayed there. I could only imagine how strongly they'd react if some brown-haired man suddenly drove in on a bike and... "Hey, what are you doing? Stop right there. Get off and come with me." Was I some sort of idiot? With the city boy I was, I went in there thinking it would all just work out. And now I caught the attention of a police officer. Well, I doubted he'd arrest me or anything, but the fact that there was some weirdo who invaded the village in the middle of the night would spread among the people here in less than a day. Now I'd be treated like a criminal if I wanted to talk to anyone here. The officer looked middle-aged, but what stood out about him was the fact that he seemed like the most generic meathead old man in the countryside. That told me to sit down here and wait until he came back. I could only imagine the chewing out I was in for. Still, I was pretty sure the passing Kamafujiyoshi was one of the main conditions here. I could clearly remember. I had memories of this. Hisaka Mayamiya and Yudai Hashimoto came through the normal route, and they weren't considered a problem. They died on the first day of the feast, but that wasn't because they were outsiders. They just violated the feast rules. Oh, that's also one thing that we did. We ended up getting stuff from a convenience store, and the clerk seems to be some sort of... might end up actually being supernatural. But we ended up getting some of the local necessary items so that we would be able to join the feast. Because the first time through, we were not part of it, and we were not subject to its rules. They either hadn't cleansed themselves, sheltered or alone, or dreamed. My assumption was that, before it all happened, they stayed in an inn in Kamafujiyoshi. They'd only come to Yasumizu on that day for the sake of an article. Unfortunately for them, the mist came and landslide happened, making it impossible for them to go back to Kamafujiyoshi by car. Then everyone started sheltering, and no one came to help them. Forget the outsider. Old man Kanzo, I'll check the... Oh, wait, no, I was going to... Forget the outsider. Old man Kanzo and I'll check the other places. Stop wasting time and go back to yours. Yeah, even Takumi-san had tried to cut me off because I was an outsider, giving me a way to survive. However, improvised was probably a huge risk for Kemi. I had to keep that in mind. Back to the journalist, though. They ended up abandoned in the village plaza, clueless about what was happening. What had they done then? They obviously chosen to spend the night in the van. I had no idea how Hashimoto-shi and Miyama-san fit in there together, but since they hadn't slept alone, we'd broken the shelter rule. Hell, I wasn't sure if the van was a valid source of shelter to begin with, even if locked. That was probably why Hashimoto's body was found with the van. Since Hisako Mayamiya had probably roamed around at night, she'd broken the dream rule. I had no idea why she'd gone outside, but it could have been something simple, such as nature calling or a search for a better place to sleep. Of course, as a journalist, she might have spilt a scoop in this ominous village and gone out to gather info. Not to mention they hadn't taken a bath in this situation, so they obviously hadn't cleansed themselves. And so, she died at the hands of that thing. Now, what had happened to me? I died once after leaving the outside toilet. Dying because I'd gone outside was understandable, but honestly, I wasn't sure if the toilet even counted as inside. I bet that it didn't. And of course, I hadn't bathed or slept, so I broke all the rules. And yet I survived. What had made my situation different then? Well, the situation I guess would be different is you hadn't eaten any of their food because the journalists came specifically to eat local food, local specialties. Meanwhile, all we had was cup ramen from Kemi the entire time. So I guess that was it. And now that we have eaten the food from the convenience store, we drink that local, the local cola. I'm assuming that counts, and now we're all fucked. It was whether I'd been found by that thing or not. Upon seeing me, it recognized me as a rule breaker and executed me. But when it hadn't found me, I'd survived despite breaking all the rules. That meant that sheltering law was simply a method meant to keep the werewolf-like thing from finding you. And what's his name was probably easy to find because he was just in his car and you could probably look through a window or something. Or they knew because he went through the normal route. The two journalists went to the normal route. The people in this village knew they were here, so they knew to look out for them, but they didn't know I was here because I stumbled in here and they had no clue. So that's why, even though I broke all the rules, they didn't find me. That would be the real reason to explain it, and not the supernatural like I just said. Anyway, the time I survived, I tried to force its way in, but failed. Nothing had happened to me because I was locked in. But if the lock was broken or something, I'd been found and killed easily. Basically, you could avoid the monster by just properly locking yourself in somewhere. Miko was proof of that. She was a lost child who'd come from the hated Saranaga, but she'd survived all the way up to the end without succumbing to the corruption. That meant the important thing here was to get a lockable residence in Yasumizu with a bath. And that was exactly why arriving via the normal route was necessary. If I had come from Saranaga again, most of the inhabitants would treat me with distrust and disgust, driving me away. But if I was a person who'd arrived through Kamafuji Yoshi or whatever reason, they'd be willing to accommodate. Mika was probably only given a place because she was young and because Rikako Uematsu had protected her. I couldn't expect similar treatment. Rikako Uematsu preemptively gave a house to Miko? To a small child like her? I made it seem like she knew the mists and the feast would come. I'd think more on that later though. It could be that she'd given her a key right after the mist came. Anyway, if I could be like the Miko and get a proper place I could stay in, I'd have the right to participate in the feast of the Yomi Purge. I'd be able to listen to the talks myself, instead of relying on Kemi and be able to constitute my own thoughts. I'd also learn much more about the feast. That meant a lot, considering that some people there, especially the elders, wouldn't want to talk about Yasumizu's problems to those outside the feast. A part of me wanted to avoid another tragedy, but the part of me that wanted to find out what was behind this mystery was equally strong. That monster, and the thing that allowed me to still be here, this looping phenomenon, were the main mysteries here. Oh, one second. It's not raining now and a package just showed up, so let me get it before it rains. Okay. So yeah, basically, what I just got is The new set of Magic the Gathering cards came out, and I normally carry my decks and my spare cards in Fat Pack boxes. I am currently out of Fat Pack boxes, so I got one of the new set, so now I have a new box to carry things around in. And a few extra goodies inside, of course, as well. But mostly because it's the neat looking boxes with dragons on it, so I get to put all my dragon decks in there. Anyway, back to the game. Though I did not have some question about them, though I did have some questions about the monster. If it hadn't found me when I locked myself in the toilet, it was probably just curious why it was locked. Couldn't the monster with the wolf head just track me by scent? Why did it half-ass the job? Its failure to eliminate me only made me the inhabitants more suspicious of me. There were no feast laws regarding outsiders. That's why it was best for us to just not be present. Looking at the current laws, those who didn't have a place to stay were outsiders, and they had to be removed because of that. The system worked fine for the most part, but then there was me, a proper breach. If that monster meted out the corruption, it was on the side of the Great Lord Shinai, and such it should have used some divine powers or whatever to address the problem. Also, it seemed to me that they had the power to unlock doors. Man, this was confusing. Last time, the wolves were Yasunaga Oribe and Tai Yamikawa. According to the legend, they had been replaced by wolves who'd come back from the dead. But their story was completely different. They said they were normal people who had wolves as their guardians. That meant the thing couldn't have been Yasunaga-kun or Tei-san. It was more like an agent of the same side as whatever granted them their powers. I had no idea why they were granting their protection to the guardians. But from what I could tell, guardians were like fragments of divine power. And if you were on the same side as the one who granted those powers, couldn't you just use this unlocking power whenever you wanted? Why would a supernatural being make such a careless mistake? Any assumptions made beyond this point would just be grasping at straws, and bias my observations. I'd just stop here for now. Well, when it comes to storage on my cards, I have a huge actual card storage thing for all the commons and uncommons and lands. Just so I have, if I need to look for them, I have the uncommons color-coded, and the commons, well, I probably will never touch them unless I maybe do something. Probably will just have to throw them away or give them away for something. But yeah, I like to use those fat packs for all the rares and everything else. And everything else that's just hanging around. And full decks, which I keep making more and more of, so I need more storage. Anyway. It was imperative I got myself a place to stay. What was I doing here anyway? I've been theorizing about this and that for almost half an hour now. Dawn was close. I only had a little over 10 hours until the mist came, and I had to find a secure place to stay with that time. That was hard to begin with, but as things stood, it was outright impossible. Did I have to run away? What if I just ran away to Yasumizu and came from Khan Fujiyoshi like it was no big deal and asked them to let me live there? Well, they had enough imagination to suspect me. I definitely need someone from Kama Fujiyoshi to vouch for me, and for that, I had to find something that could turn this around. I looked around the police box. A tidy desk, a rotary phone. This felt like the place had officer from the mid-20th century. Yeah, Andy Griffiths is going to come for us any second. There were wanted posters on the walls. Oh, they caught that guy. One of the men even had the look of a criminal. And that one... a serial killer, eh? And it was possible he was lurking in the area, huh? That was pretty freaky. Finally, I heard some noise. The door opened and the officer returned. Didn't run away. You got guts. I should have ran? What was that? And he wasn't one to mess around. I mean, I didn't do anything wrong. What's your name? Harukai Fujiyashi. Haru from Sun, and Aki from Miji, and Harukai and Fusa from Workshop, and Ishii from Stone for Fusashi. Fushaishi. What a weird name. Best not be a fake, kid. Rude. You from Tokyo? Yes, I am. It was like anyone weird from Tokyo to them. Some serious stereotyping here, and was right, though. How old are you? 24. Huh? What's your job? I'm a student. College, eh? So you got a good head, but no common sense. Nah, I just drove in the road last night. That was so unfair, I wanted to talk back so badly. Why are you here? He lowered his voice a bit. That was the main matter here. and how he treated me would change depending on my answer. What angle did I have to take? All right, so I'll need more keys for later. So you followed after your girlfriend. Let's lie and say we're Kemi's boyfriend. I had an idea. Well, what? Say it. I heard that a girl I dedicated my heart to lives somewhere around here, so I came looking for her. There. He acted like he didn't care, but he was definitely interested. Here in human society, love stories were a supreme form of entertainment, and a good exercise for doing all sorts of weird things. Anything was possible when a girl, or a guy, was involved. Well, you say that, but no one here actually went to Tokyo. We met elsewhere. Oh? When I went to Karuizawa to recover from the after effects of the bird flu. And so I wove him a dramatically majestic story of how I'd grown close to a woman I'd dedicated my life to. The cop was really into it. It looked like he didn't care at first, but by the time I got to the part where she first invited me to her house, she displayed a childlike enthusiasm. Eventually, we became true lovers. But she said she couldn't throw away her childhood home, which had led to a tearful goodbye. At that point, the cop was fully invested in the girl returning back home. So you threw away the city and came after her, eh? Ho ho! He smiled like he was about to pat me. I definitely captured his heart. But, was there a girl like that here? What's your fiance's name? There it was. Everyone in rural areas knew each other, so trying to make up a person wouldn't get me anywhere. But that wasn't a problem for me. I had the perfect name in mind. She's Kemi Sarazawa. Get out. Huh? Get out, right now. He stood up and approached me so menacingly, I felt like I was about to be attacked me. In the end, he jumped on his scooter and led me to some crossroads, clearly intent on getting me as far away from Fujiyoshi as possible. I was now heading towards the so-called Kachihara era. The rain had already stopped, but it was tiring to drive alone on the slick asphalt. I knew Kemi and Fujiyoshi were distant, to say the least. And since she'd been out of the village, they couldn't have known what she'd been up to. I thought that'd make my story more believable, but what the hell was that reaction? The thing that set him off was Kemi's name. She told me she almost killed someone with a bat. Was her reputation that bad? Even if it was that the right reaction to make? You'd expect something like, I really think you shouldn't, and the like. Was it because she was from Yasumizu? That makes sense. If they didn't want outsiders to know about Yasumizu, it makes sense for them to chase away anyone coming to meet her. But that only made them look more suspicious. Anyway, what now? Maybe I try coming back again after getting some rest in the nearest town? But from what I could tell, entering Yasumizu from Kamafujiyoshi wouldn't be as easy as I first thought. The fatigue was getting the better of me. I knew it was a good idea to stop, but no, I actually didn't know it. I wasn't able to think straight. Oh, I pass out and die again? Missed. Now, was it artificial? No, that didn't make sense. My mind was hazed and it could no longer make sense of anything. And another one. Ah, key 6, taboo name. Alright, good. That ending number 9. Wants the hint corner? No, I'm good. Half the hint corner is the game just saying, hey, you know what you just chose? Don't do that again. And not exactly that helpful. Okay, we're going to... Yeah, back from the beginning. I know. Alright, we're going to load at the start. We are going to go down the recall path. I've already chose these two, which were just dead ends and didn't get me anything. Yeah, don't be dumb. Don't choose the same thing twice in a row. Okay, so this is do we go back to the village or do we go to this place? There's something else we need. We need a 6, 5, and a 7. So I went here. We need a 6 and a 5. So we need whatever this 5 is to get further down this one. However, I could choose the other path and just say I got lost. However, my assumption is if I choose the got lost, it will probably just end with me being dead. Like, he'll probably, like, do something, but, you know, we'll choose it just to find out what it actually is. So why are you here? I mean, I really did get lost. I went on a bike trip and lost my way. I just told him the truth. There was nothing shady about that. And telling him some cheap lies would only make him suspicious. Really? Put on a threatening tone. I really wish he didn't stare at me like that. What, do you expect me to fall for him? Really, I've been wandering around the mountains for hours before finding a convenience store. An employee told me about this place. A convenience store? They told you to come here? She hadn't told me to go to Kamafujiyoshi, but she had told me about Yasumizu. I just told the truth until the end. She told me about a settlement in the mountains that was not even on the map. I kindly refused, and she told me about here. That's strange. Is there a settlement like that? Beats me. That was clearly an act. He looked away. Man, this guy was honest. Well, I get it. There's something special about you, huh? Yeah. I see. Well, you should stop going around at night and disturbing the peace like that. I have appreciated an apology for treating me with such suspicion, but I had more important things to talk about. Anyway, would you mind if I spent the night here and... Alright, I'll show you the way to the road. Huh? But I'm so tired. If you can complain, you'll be just fine. My fuel's running low. I'll give you some from my scooter. I don't feel so good? Then you should hurry up and go. Is something going on here? Nope. He wasn't even looking me in the eyes as he said that. He got on his scooter and saw me off the crossroads. Man, what a great guy. I didn't expect him to go this far. Yeah, right. Why the hell did he want me out so badly? Well, at least the rain stopped. That was the only good thing about this. Was this some special time of year when the presence of outsiders was bad? Was the world No, it's because the entire town is currently not here, and they're currently surrounding the fucking smaller town, being like, who wants to put on the wolf costume this time? Oh, yeah, let's get out the fog machine. Yeah. We're going to lace it with, like, this special knockout drug. And when you walk through it, you're going to collapse because, like, oh, they breathed it in. Oh, they're going to think, like, they're just not going anywhere, but they're just going to die, and then we'll kill them in their sleep. Oh, yeah, did you get the camera set up to watch them do it? Oh, yeah, I definitely did. That seemed like a decent guess. Even if the mist hadn't shown up for decades now, the legends were deeply rooted in local culture. There would still be related traditions alive. Or maybe he was sure something bad was going to happen. Or was he on the side that'd make it happen? Did they have a means to create such a dense mist? Mist happened in the air, cooled, and the water vapor in the air couldn't stay gaseous. It was basically small water droplets. The mechanism by which they worked could easily be replicated in the lab. They even did it on educational TV. Though I found that hard to believe they could reproduce a scale vast enough to hide an entire settlement. They need some device that'd no doubt be large and heavy, and it'd have to be in the Saranaga Rapids of all places. Though, I'd only been to Saranaga when I couldn't see anything, either because it was night or misty. If the mist was made by some huge machine put there by Kamafujiyoshi people, I'd be really pissed to say the least. Though, Takumi-san did say he had to pick up corpses from Saranaga. Even if it was forbidden ground, it wasn't likely they could just install a device there that without anyone noticing. That was how it was in some novel, wasn't it? The corpse was there to begin with, but they just couldn't perceive it. I'd have liked to believe in something a tad more realistic. In the end, I had to keep going to the area called Kachihara. Maybe I'd get the rest there. If I returned the next day, the cop would surely snap at me. Would I even go back? The fatigue was getting the better of me. I knew it was a good idea to stop, but no, I actually didn't know it. I wasn't able to think straight. Mist? Yeah, every single time the mist comes around, he always says that same line, I stop thinking straight, and he passes out. So there's definitely some bullshit, something in the mist that's knocking them out, and then they get disposed of afterwards. Now? Was it artificial? No, it didn't make any sense. My mind was hazy, and I could no longer make sense of anything. And dead end. And I assume, is this another key or nothing? I assume it's going to be nothing. Oh, it is. Oh, it is key 5. Okay, cool. Bad ending. 8 hit corner. No, I'm good. It's gonna say, ah, you have 2 keys now. I get it. Come on, let me pop up in the chart. I wasn't actually expecting it to give me the next key so quickly. Because I have 5, 6. Probably doing this will end up giving me 7. So, yeah. So why are you here? He lowered his voice a bit. That was the main matter here, and how he treated me would change depending on my answer. Yeah. Snap. Get fucking mad. What's it to you, huh? Huh? This is Japan. We're free to go wherever. I can't be wherever I want, damn it. The hell's up with you? I'm tired of dying, damn it. I know I come back dying really hurts. You damn punk. I know this route's a dead end, too. What next, then? You want me to dance naked? Some taste that you got there? You've got there, God? I dare you to do it, you shit. Just shut up and let me stay here. Then let me go to Yasumizu and make it look normal. Hooah! Yeah! He went crazy. What the hell? Hello. Hello. All right, I'll shoot him. That's what I got 2 keys for, to just die. Okay. Got key 7 berserk. Alright, I figured that would be key 7. Okay. But that didn't give me any new information. I just overreacted and died. Okay, game. Alright, I'm gonna fast forward. Yeah, let me get to the chart, damn you. Okay. Alright, back over. So we go back to here, we recall, we go back to here, and we have new choices, and we have all the locks for whatever this is. Wait, what? End of the line. Oh, it's giving me the stop. Yeah. Well, that ain't happening. Game's 5 years old. Well, it's not really a game, but... Okay, so... Wait, didn't we already do... Oh, are we supposed to be... Are we getting drunk this time? So when we go there and we act all weird, they'll be like, ah, he's just drunk. I stopped my bike. Then I flipped out the kickstand and locked it in place. Also, he said dying hurts, but he's only ever died twice violently. He died violently when he was killed by the wolf thing in the very first death. And then the second death was when he was killed in the river after leaving Kemi for the very first time and finishing one loop. Every other time, he's just passed out in the mist. What do you mean it hurts, bro? You just lose consciousness and then I get a dead end notice. Anyway, after opening up the toolbox under the seat, I hid my license, ID, and business card. Anything related to me, basically, inside it. Kamo Fujiyoshi was just ahead. If I came in like that, the officer would surely catch me and then chase me away. I had to find another way to convince that old man to let me stay. I reached into the bag and stuff I thought in the convenience store and took something out. It was a cup of refined sake. I quickly gulped it down. Ah, it's so bad. Cheap or not, the chugging sake like this was plain disrespectful. No trying this at home, kids. Not that kids could drink anyway. Yeah, there's a magical god of sake who makes you play a game where if a child drinks alcohol, you now have to participate in a feast where your toys will now choose whether to hang you or not. Next cup. Ugh. Third cup. 4. Huh? The hell are you? Drunk? Never seen you around here before. Yep. Oh, Rick. Where the hell you from? Why out here so late? Yep. Ugh. All right. Just come with me. Yep. I realize this. That may always. Oh, let me go as long as I was good for driving. And it was because I just not talk at all and come all drunk. Woo-hoo! Shut up, dumbass. You're disturbing the neighbors. Wake up in the drunk tank. Ugh. Where was I? Wow, my head. I hurt all over. To Tommy? A blanket? So he really let me spend the night here, just that I planned. The officer was actually a nice guy. Not like I couldn't tell, he was just rough and simple. Basically, the way to get around him was to get him to think there was nothing more to me than meet the eye. So, we're just a transformer? Alright, well I choose bulkhead. Yeah, let's go bulkhead. Anyway. Oh, you awake? Let's talk for a bit. Alright, it was time. Can't wait for this to also be you die route. So let me get this straight. You got no money, can't find a job when chased from your apartment, left by your girl and your parents are already gone. You came into the mountains to drink yourself stupid and die, but couldn't finish the job. Huh. Yes. Tokyo's hell, isn't it? Yeah. After I spent an hour lying about myself, the officer looked at me with a sympathetic expression. If you ask me, you shouldn't have tried to look more proper than that. Yeah, I'll think about it. Basically, I didn't talk unless prompted, nor did I argue with him. The guy was definitely good-natured, but he also rough around the edges, chatty, and a bit preachy. In this case, I just kind of let him set the pace. I was about to ask him something outrageous, after all. I needed to be completely on board with the story. The front door was made of glass, and when people paused and passed me on the farm road in front, they all gave me funny looks. It was early morning, but the people of Kamafujiyoshi were already aware of and concerned about my presence, an outsider. Well, dying ain't good. Yes, I was too scared to die even when drunk. Didn't seem that way. Sometimes you're so scared you can't help but laugh. Huh, that's so? Well, what do you want to do now? I paused to make it seem like I was hesitating. I want to make a fresh start, but I got nowhere to go. I faked some tears and quivered as I spoke. My wife's from Miyazaki. They got a small workshop there. Want to give that a try? Huh? Your wife is from Kyushu? Yeah, she's a tough woman. How'd you meet her? Well, when I was still 20. And so, he began his grandiose, hour-long talk about his youthful romance. The words karma and a curse rebound came to mind. Apparently, he wasn't a Fujiyoshi inhabitant at the start. He and his wife were only living here in the sticks because he was the local officer. It was then that said wife, a plump and pleasant woman, came out and served us tea. So they really were living here. Eventually, they got so lovey-dovey it was hard for me to talk. I instead considered what to do next. I mean, this made it really hard for me to say I wanted to make a fresh start here in Fujiyoshi. Even his wife suggested I went to work for her family back in Kyushu. Such nice people. Exactly the type that gets swindled. That sounds great, but this place is nice too, isn't it? There's lots of nature. I could take it easy here. Oh, but it's so inconvenient. It's all surrounded by mountains. I have a feeling like I was brought here for a purpose. Like, maybe I'd meet someone? Well, you did. You met us, didn't you? Damn, she was a tough one. This is my first time anyone's ever been so nice to me. Oh, dear. Please don't cry. I just want to pay you back. Can I work somewhere in this village? I got to the heart of the matter, but the guy didn't look enthusiastic. His wife left the room, leaving behind the two of us in an awkward silence. I don't think you should. Huh? I mean, this place is full of old people, and it's not like we'd have any local exports or anything. The most you can expect is odd jobs, but that's good enough for me. I don't even need any money. That's great and all, but it's a town not far from here. I want to work here. Well, how do I put it? The people here are a bit strange, you see. He went and said it. Listening to his story made me guess that he wasn't under Fujiyoshi's sway to the degree others were. They'd lived here for 20 years, but in some small ways, they were still outsiders. The bitterness in his expression was more than enough to give me that impression. Strange? Forget I said that. Anyway, don't take this the wrong way, but you should find some other... Suddenly I heard a sound coming from the outside. It was the town broadcast. Some speakers somewhere in the village were playing some unclear music, and it was... Oh, that surprised you. It's a sign of 7 o'clock. Yeah, I heard the music back in Yasumizu. It was both a children's song and a playground singing game. Kemi said it was called the Prayer to Shinai. So it was song revering Great Lord Shinai? But from what I remembered, it was about the feast of the Yomi Purge. That's a strange melody. I forget what it's called, but it's around here for generations. So the village as a whole had inherited it. There wasn't anything strange about that, really. Even if its roots were in a cruel legend, the passage of time would eventually erode the legend's significance. Just introduce something like a wolf bullying festival, and it would be nothing more than a decent song to serve as a morning alarm for the villagers. But that was only true if the legend's meaning had been forgotten. That needed a drink. What happened next was shocking, even to someone who had their suspicions about the nature of this place. One by one, people started coming out of their homes, forming a crowd. The road before the office was full of people traveling from right to left. Where had this many people even come from? I couldn't get any good looks at their expressions, but they were all hanging their heads despondently. Were they just tired? What's going on? They're going to the watering hole. Watering hole? The eatery. Everyone eats breakfast, lunch, and dinner there. That was it. That's a bit weird. Yeah, it's got something to do with there being a ban on using fire because it could burn the mountain. So the watering hole did it in secret. That's why everyone here eats at the watering hole instead of their homes. Meal times are dedicated to the Higuchi, so... What about us? The door suddenly opened, and I heard a soft voice I didn't recognize. Surprised, the officer and I turned around. It was a man in a suit, average build. His face was round, and he looked a bit shy of middle-aged. There's nothing, Higuchi-san. And it turned out he was a member of one of the four-head families here, the Higuchi. That was the family that Kaori Oribe had married into, but when her husband, the family's head, died, she was sent to Yasumizu. That means this man was related to Yasunaga-kun and Yoshigitsu-kun. I couldn't see the resemblance. I was definitely intrigued, though. Fujiyoshi had a tradition of using the watering hole to feed themselves, and the Higuchi family was in charge of it. That gave them an influential position. People needed food to stay alive, and if they didn't have any way to cook it, they wouldn't consider making food for themselves. I could only imagine the power of a family could have if it was in charge of all the local food and drink. Kaori Oribe's son was in charge of the dining hall too. Her relation to the Higuchi probably had something to do with that. Perhaps she'd been sent there to fill that role. But if that was the case, the idea that Yasumizu had been completely abandoned wasn't true at all. It'd mean that Kami Fujiyoshi was actually controlling what went on there. Everyone was talking about this person. Who is he? Name's Fushashi. Kid went through some bad stuff, wondered he wanted to die. That sounds quite awful. The Gucci-shi gave me a genuinely sympathetic smile. No need for that. I think I was in the right mind. Sorry for the bother. Well, that's all fine and good. I see. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Soji Higuchi. I am in charge of the odd jobs around here. Pleased to meet you. I'm Haruki Furusashi. You are quite stylish. Hunk, as they say. I wouldn't say so. May I ask what you were talking about? We were about to eat. Can't you leave it for later? I forgot. You always make your own food. Oh, but
Have you had breakfast yet, Fusashi-san? Care to join us? My family runs an eatery. We can treat you. It might also be a good chance to talk. Don't worry. Looking after Fujiyoshi is part of my role. I'd like to know everything there is to know about what's happening here.
He looked gentle and easy to get along with, but also like someone I had to watch my step around. He just walked right up to the local police officer and asked him for information like it was a casual request. It was clear who was in charge here. I gave the officer a glance out of the corner of my eye, but he stopped talking. I felt like the conversation I had with him could have led me to sharing breakfast with him and his wife. But he hadn't said anything about Soji Higuchi inviting me. It was like he was telling me to accept it. Or perhaps there was just no point in trying to refuse. May I? Even so, I did ask for his permission. Can I have him after breakfast? But the officer didn't even want to talk to me anymore. There's still some things I'd like to ask him. Perhaps Fujiyoshi was a place where, in his presence, you couldn't even have a conversation without him involved.
Yes, of course.
Anyway, it was decided. The sky was clear. The eatery was split into several buildings around the village. From what Higuchi-san had told me, Fujiyoshi had a population of about 1,000 people. It was pretty small for an autonomous area, but it was still enough to make eating in one of the buildings possible. We went into one of them. It was crowded, but upon seeing us, the villager stepped aside as if this was all planned. Apparently, everyone here did what they could to accommodate Higuchi. Also, everyone was staring at me like I was an alien or something. But it felt like Higuchi's presence discouraged them from staring too long. That attitude aside, everyone here looked pretty normal. The usual Japanese people. The lethargy from before was nowhere to be seen. Maybe they just looked lethargic because it was early morning? Most looked like they were farmers, but I could also see some students in uniforms bearing the same design as the students in Yasumizu. Hey, welcome in for the day, Sabes. The building itself was an aged wooden structure, but it was a whole lot bigger than the one in Yasumizu, and looked way sturdier too. The interior wasn't too pretty, but it was spacious. You grabbed the tray right after walking in, then got a tea or the rice bowls or whatever from the ladies in aprons. It felt like a high school cafeteria, but you couldn't choose what you wanted. You could refuse what you didn't want, though.
Oh, I'll look after him, don't worry.
He spoke to the elderly woman one after another and made them stop staring at me with suspicion. Then we took our trays and, without paying anything, apparently they had something like union dues for that, how effective, walked away. Parting the crowd, we searched for a place to sit down.
It's a bit cramped in here, but please do eat.
I really appreciate getting to eat a normal meal. Lots of rice, miso soup, the one with vegetables and boiled beans. I thought it was vegetarian at first, but then felt something meaty inside.
It's sushi. Not used to it? It doesn't taste that strange, does it?
Shishi? Like inoshishi? Boar?
Not specifically. In here, deer, boar, all the wild meat is called sushi.
Oh yeah, I heard that sushi once used to be the Japanese reading for meat before it became niku.
I'm surprised you know that. The people of this area have been hunting for a long time, and even now the hunters share what they catch, like they did with this.
Well, I already have a bunch of suspicions and ideas. It's still floating around between, is it supernatural, is it mundane? I'm definitely leaning more on the mundane side. Hatsune Miku. So yeah, I have a lot of ideas what could be on the side. I think it's more. It's probably more mundane. This town is definitely involved in some way, shape, or form. Every single time we die in the mist, we always pass out, and then it's a dead end. So there's definitely something in the mist affecting us. The people who are the wolves seem to not be. They're definitely not supernatural. They themselves admit they have a reason for killing everybody, and they gave a reason. It's probably a false reason. No idea yet. Not sure. They randomly mentioned a serial killer, so I'm gonna keep that in like a side pocket. Like, okay, sure. I'm not gonna think too hard on that one right now. Well, I mean, the time travels is its own separate shtick, okay? But everything else, like, I'm pretty sure the lady who works at the convenience store, I'm pretty sure she's the guardian deity for the mountain, probably. Considering we asked for a million random bullshit things, and she very angrily went to the back room and somehow pulled out every fucking thing we asked for, like she has a bag of holding. Just like, oh, let me just go and get this for him. So that's my guess on that. So there is some supernatural, but I think like what's happening to the people in the town is something that's more natural. Like something that's being done to them by this other town. But we'll find out more as it goes. Anyway. I hadn't thought I'd ever eat wild game in some communal eatery. Lucky me. Though, the taste was kind of bland overall. And I'm pretty sure the end game is going to be, or at least the next part's going to be convincing them to vote the wolves out right away. Without giving, like, trying to use what information we have to get them to vote the wolves out early without losing too many people. That's probably the best goal. But if this is something mundane, it's going to be more than just that. We're probably going to have to try to get the people who are wolves to understand that they're being used and that there is no penance, maybe, if it is mundane. So we'll figure it out. Though, the taste was kind of bland overall. I could detect some soy sauce on the vegetables, while the boiled beans were kind of sweet. The soup stock, too, made me think they used the minimal amount of flavoring. The miso soup didn't really seem like miso soup. It was more like a stew, probably because sushi was the only thing they used for the stock. I tasted more of it, and realized that the overboiled meat still had a sort of beastly texture and smell about it. I've had some venison and stuff before, and basically, I guess the best way to say it is the meat has a tang to it. Which I assume that's what people mean when they say meat is gamey. It's got like this weird extra tang to it. I used to babysit my aunt and uncle's pets while they went on vacation. And my uncle would always sometimes have like ground venison, and I would make tacos out of it. It still tasted good, but you could definitely taste, like I said, some extra tang that the meat itself gave. Hatsumi Nika. Okay, well then it's actually getting better than we had to do together. However, I was correct on my initial no information guess. I said my two guesses when I had no information were the two wolves were Kemi and the old lady. I was correct on the old lady. I couldn't call it good, but there was a unique local meal not everyone had the chance to eat. I was grateful for the experience. The eatery was still crowded as the people came and went, but Higuchi didn't seem bothered as we talked. I kept up with him during the conversation, repeating the same lies I had told to the officer, and making sure to look as much as poor as unfortunate soul as I could. He smiled all the way, though, even as he interjected how and again. I feel like he was at least 100 times craftier than the officer, and I wondered if it was my inner contrarian speaking. After that, Higuchi and I returned to the officer's post, but what would you say to Fusashi-san moving to Fujiyoshi? It was what I wanted to hear, but I couldn't let it show on my face. While the officer was against it, he didn't intend to argue too strongly. He and Higuchi discussed some things, but it seemed like Higuchi was already knew how he'd treat me, and it didn't look like the officer's take mattered to him. After a few exchanges, the officer caved, and it was my turn to speak. You okay with this too, aren't you, Fusashi-san? Now that was a smile I couldn't say no to even if I wanted. Well, it really did seem like the heads of Kama Fujiyoshi were a twisted bunch. Yes, the opportunity is a godsend for me. You can settle in right away, but it's going to be a place of short distance from here.
Was he serious? I don't mind. What kind of place is it? I'll tell you more in a moment. Oh, that reminds me. We had some people already headed there. He's gonna send us to the village. Yeah, okay. Those two, huh? We'll ask them to take you there. There was no mistaking it. He smiled like he was a harmless smile, forcing me into the settlement for the ostracized. So, do I have to sign anything? We can take care of that later. I know someone in Tokyo. He can act as a proxy for that. Anyway, we must start with your place of residence. You would be a bother if you'd stayed in the officer's post after all. I'll talk to the ones going there. Don't worry, they are all from the city too. Oh, I'll have to tell the locals about you too. It'll be quite busy, but I'm sure I can get it all done by lunch. Anyway, goodbye for now. He one-sidedly ended the conversation and left the post. Nice guy. On the surface, anyway. Yeah. The officer understood the situation and didn't like it, but couldn't go against one of the heads. This is probably why Kemi said we couldn't trust the police. In Fujiyoshi, even government institutions are only a secondary authority. Anyway, what could I make of this? I did actually expect to be sent to Yasumizu. The people here had no interest in harboring outsiders. We weren't welcome. Or maybe they wanted to avoid the initial trouble caused by my imagination by making me live with the ostracized until I got used to the village. Whatever the case, this wasn't something I had to say in, which made it seem really bad. That was probably why the officer was so against it. I couldn't understand that. Higuchi-shi, on the other hand, seemed a bit heavy-handed with all this. I can understand him wanting to set me up with the place quickly, but as someone who knew about the feast, I couldn't help but be suspicious of the timing. The mist would come this evening, and he wanted to give Yasumizu a new inhabitant until then. Did Higuchi-shi, ahead of Kama Fujiyoshi, understand what that meant? The answer is obviously. Have you ever read Kyukyo Hiyoshi's articles? Sorry. I went through a highly familiar exchange and finished my introduction to Hisako Mayamiya the second time. Hello, it's nice to meet you. Hello. He was as hard to deal with as always. Higuchi-shi worked fast, though, too. He gotten back to me before noon, and before I knew it, I was greeted by the ones who led me to my place. Just as I expected, they were the journalists. Higuchi-san said that they'd already contracted the people in Yasumizu. What about you? Are you ready? Yes, I'm more worried about you, in fact. Oh, we're all right. If we can get there at noon, we won't have to stay hungry for long. I see. So you intend to come later for the convenience? Yes, he said we could avoid coming when the people there were eating. Honestly, I wanted to cover their eating environment, so this is a bit of a stroke of luck. Oh, so this probably also had something to do with the people of Fujiyoshi not wanting to show their daily lives to outsiders. They could have just refused them completely, though. Did the journalists have connections that made them impossible to refuse? Or did they want to show what a developed settlement it was? Or maybe they had no intention of letting them go. Unlikely. If they killed anyone from Yasumizu or some nobody like me, they could easily conceal it due to how isolated the location was. But the two journalists had come here to make an article, and if something were to happen to them here, it would be certain to draw unwanted attention to the village. On the other hand, if Kama Fujiyoshi's people knew that the feast was near, they probably wouldn't have allowed them here. I think we should head over now. What do you think, Hashimoto-san? Fine. Whoa, he was slow, but he actually communicated with someone. That was rare. So, sorry for the bother, and thank you for having me. No worries. That was the first exchange I shared with him. No worries. That was the first exchange I shared with him. In this life, anyway. Of course. Now get in. The van started slowly traveling down the thin, paved road between the farms. Come to think of it, May was rice planting season. The field had water all over it and didn't display a single weed. It was full of people planting rice seedlings by hand. They're not using machines? Looks like it. The people here don't seem to like modern technology. Combines and tractors aren't that new. If you ask me, I'm impressed they're doing such a good job by hand. I'm not sure they are. That's why the big families here are trying to get heavy machinery for the job.
I see. Like, Higuchi-san?
I heard that the Migurama were in charge of farming developments.
I see. So they have money, huh?
Seems so. Not quite sure how that works.
Something has to work here?
How do I put this? What I mean to say is, the big families are strangely rich for a mountain village with an aging populace where the young do work outside.
Really?
Yes. The Migamura house was really big. They even had a large foreign car.
Yeah. Even if it was something that could easily be explained, it was still something to keep in mind. Q-chan.
Yes?
The strange nickname Hashimoto-san used surprised me, but Mamiya-san didn't, Miya-san herself didn't seem bothered. You shouldn't make too many assumptions.
But
The journalist within you is curious.
it's nothing that big.
I think you should just leave it at that.
Is that your famous photographer intuition talking?
Okay, so Hashimoto is definitely from here, right? And the corpse we found in the van is probably bullshit, filled with just random meat, and we just assumed it was him. Because he is now telling her to fucking mind her P's and Q's. Okay, so... yeah, I'm suspicious already. Who knows?
Well, alright. This isn't my specialty.
That would also explain why they came here. Or why they're being allowed, because what's his name is from the city, or from the town.
Anyway, forget what I said.
Yes. Nope.
By the way, I heard you're moving here.
That's how it turned out.
Have you heard about this place you're going to?
I didn't, but I can imagine what it's like. My words made her give me a strange look.
As in?
It probably isn't a good place to live in, but being separate from the main settlement and all.
Why do you think that?
Few people looked comfortable about how I'd be treated, while Higuchi-san looked less like a nice guy, and more like someone who could easily shrug off any guilt his action would cause him.
I see.
Don't mind me though. I'm satisfied we're going where we're going.
Maybe I shouldn't say anything, but it's a really isolated place. I don't know if loving the countryside is enough to bear it.
Don't worry. Compared to dying, any place is heaven. Wait, that must sound strange. What an awkward laugh. Apparently, they've been told I've almost committed suicide. I'm curious though, what kind of place is it?
It's special.
Q-chan. She tried choosing her words carefully, but that made it sound worse than just a place for the ostracized. Hashimoto-shi seemed to be warning her, but she continued talking anyway.
I still don't know much, but it's full of people who were unfairly forced to live there. Both the place and the people living there aren't regarded highly here in Kamifujiyoshi.
Think before you go leaking information.
I pick and choose who I'm saying this to. This is something a person who is moving there should know. It's only fair.
There's something you should say before that, though.
Right, sorry. Fujiyashi-san, please keep this off the record.
Sure. I won't say a word to the people there.
With that in mind, are you sure? You could still go back with us if you change your mind after seeing it. You wouldn't mind, would you, Hashimoto-san?
I'll think about it if that's what he wants.
Fusashi-san, do you want to leave with us?
These two had an interesting relationship. Mamiya-san did all the talking, but Hashimoto-san seemed to outrank her. Hell, though he didn't speak much, everything he said was really well constructed. Made sense, so to speak. While Mamiya-san often became overly excited, Hashimoto-san was strangely stable, and not just in terms of appearance. Wait, this is no time to scrutinize my traveling companions. No, it's kind of the perfect time. No, I don't feel like going back to the city anymore. Thank you for the consideration, though.
But,
Mamiya-san, you're probably saying this as a fellow city dweller, but you realize I'm a pretty shady character myself, right? I'm just grateful for your help. That's more than enough.
I see. But I won't say anything more.
Araki Furusashi-kun, was it? Yes? You really don't look like a guy at the end of his rope. I get that a lot. Must be my carefree attitude. I see. I'm sorry.
You know, one of my classmates in middle school committed suicide. He was always so carefree that we couldn't believe he'd done something like that.
Guess that's the way it is sometimes. I might have said too much.
Recalling the scene of the officer's post, I tried to get back to the character in the poor suicidal man. The van slowly ambled onward. We approached a slightly more open space. It seemed to be the center of the village, and it looked like there were small shops here. But as we went on, it started to become even more desolate, and you could see more and more trees growing between the buildings. If that was where Kamafujiyoshi ended, it was only about 3 kilometers across. If that was about 10 square kilometers in size, it had 100 people for every one of them. The stones I'd seen back in Yasumizu were nowhere in sight. Apparently, they really were Yasumizu exclusive. I could see a larger building nearby, and Mamiya-san told me it was the branch school from some nearby town. All students in Fujiyoshi must get their education there before moving on to help in the fields. The smarter ones left to work outside the village upon graduating high school. Those who went from here to college were rare, meaning that, at least relative to other locals, Kemi was a prodigy. The students from Yasumizu should have been in school at this time of day. Once we passed the last residence, we entered the area mostly untouched by human hand. The road led us to an overgrown mountains. There were large stones on each side of the road.
Impressive, huh? They're like tories.
Tories?
Yes, trees inhabited by the birds serving the gods, or a gateway through a sacred boundary. Fujiyoshi worships the mountains, anyway.
Oh, Great Lord Shinai?
You know about it?
Crap. Higuchi-san told me a few things.
Anyway, you don't really hear that this mountain is special outside this village, do you? I've never even heard of the god Shinai. Going by the kanji, it sounds like it's a monkey god of some sort, but that one is only used in calendars and directions.
Weren't your articles about food?
Oh, sorry, I used to write about the occult. Quickly switched topics because it wasn't keeping food on the table.
She looked like your typical neat and fashionable career woman. So this was really unexpected.
Wait, wouldn't it say she didn't look like a typical NEET? Because she would literally have a job? Because it's not education, training, or, whatever the fuck the one was. Something like that.
Yeah, what do you mean? You mean she didn't look like a NEET because she was a career woman? That's why you're weird why she was interested in something that was that, okay. I assume that's maybe was a miss thing? Or maybe he really did. No, she did look like a NEET? Whatever, it doesn't matter. Really? It sounds interesting, though.
In this day and age, anyone who wants to read that kind of stuff just uses the internet.
True, yes.
Everything in magazines is a lie, and all the real occult info is on the net. That's the general opinion of people into the occult these days. The piece of the pie that's still around was taken by the leading writers. We newbies didn't have a chance.
Now that you'd mention it, I hadn't seen as many magazines on the occult and the supernatural these days. No idea if that was a good thing, though. The car passed Boulder. The road is about to get bumpy. Be careful. Ah, alright. The moment he said that, the car jumped, scaring the crap out of me. If those stones were the mountain's boundary, we were now on Great Lord Shinai's turf. Beyond it, we'd find Yasumizu in the Sarnaga. The entrance to Yomi was beyond the sacred ground. This religion just kept getting weirder and weirder. Eventually, the pavement ended and we were on the gravel road. A grove of trees became a dark forest. It was cloudy, so there wasn't much light to begin with, which only made this place extra creepy. I composed myself. After all, the real creepiness was at the end of the road. We weren't saying a word anymore, and I thought about mundane stuff like the convenience of cars. We went down the side of the mountain for about 20 minutes and eventually made it through the God's Narrow Road. Beyond the dense forest, there was a relatively open space. We'd arrived at the entrance I'd passed when Haru-chan escaped the settlement and I searched for her. They were the same 2 large stones, and they did a great job of telling me that this was some sort of boundary.
We're close.
I felt like I heard a hint of nervousness in her tone. We were about to enter a strange realm. Or were we already there? There was no point in thinking about it now. We just passed the gate and... Okay, so if there is something there that's messing with us, I'm going to say it might be something about the stones. The stones in these passageways.
might have something to do with what affects people around here. Because if they really are setting it for a boundary, maybe it's something that reacts or some crazy random stupid bullshit they'll pull out of their ass. These rocks are made of pure lead. And when it becomes misty, the mist absorbs the lead and you breathe it in and it just fucks your brain. It's just instant brain rot. She was. I stared carefully not to lose sight of her. Our eyes met. A mysterious red stare, white hair trailing behind her. She looked at the van as we passed. And she fell. She hit the stone? She hit on the stone and now writhing in pain. Hey, stop the van. What? Sudden as it was, Hashimoto stopped the van. I jumped out and ran to her. Are you alright? She was still writhing on the ground with her hands on her head. There was no trace of the dignity and mystery from last time, or from just a moment ago.
It hurts.
I can tell.
Who are you?
Just a passerby.
Who am I?
Hold on.
I merely wanted to say that.
Oh, so you fill up the joking around at least, huh?
The pain made me lose my composure for a moment.
The girl, or rather woman, since she was older than me, became red as a tomato right before my eyes. Rikako Uematsu. She was an albino? Her skin and hair were pale, while her eyes were blood red. Her unusual appearance and manner of speech were exactly as I remember. But man, where did this playfulness come from? Well, I hadn't spoken to her much last time, so maybe I didn't know her as well as I thought I did. Are you okay? Be honest.
My late mother said that pain is proof.
You are well. Hey, that depends on the situation. Excuse me. Slightly hesitant, I reached out for her head, gently touched it, and examined the damage.
Ow.
Oh, you're bleeding a bit. That's gonna leave a bump. You should take it easy for a while.
Are you a doctor?
No, this sort of thing is common knowledge. From the look of the wound, it isn't that bad, is it?
Ooh.
Are you okay?
Yes, but having my hair touched like that makes me feel a bit odd. I'd rather like the feeling, but I am uncertain how I should respond.
Somebody likes pets, I see. Was the skin on her head sensitive or something?
Physical intimacy with the first villager you meet? Not bad, Fusashi-kun.
What are you saying?
A brown-haired man is trying to take Tai Ukimatsu-sama.
Out of nowhere came the old lady.
No, I'm not. Listen up. Lady. Uematsu-sama here slipped and hit her head, so I just...
Ah ha ha! What a horrible thing did this hoodlum do to you, Uematsu-sama? How awful!
She wasn't listening at all. Feeling a bit stupid for worrying so much about her, I explained what happened and cleared up the misunderstanding.
My apologies for the trouble.
The ones to blame are the ones who misunderstood.
Alright, so here's what we have to do. Before the actual thing starts, just kill the two people who are the wolves. Just flat out murder them right now. If something kills us, you'd be like, well, the game didn't start. Why would you come and kill me? The game didn't start. Yeah, I just murdered the old lady. Yeah, she's fucking dead. Yeah, what are you gonna do? Oh, one wolf down. Oh, well. Damn, we lost an old lady already. Alright, glasses kid, get the fuck over here. Don't do what the fuck you're about to do, or I'm gonna make sure you hang, alright? I'm sorry.
Now, Uematsu-sama, you should come...
No, damn, lost that voice instantly.
Now, Uematsu-sama, you should come and rest at home.
No need to worry about me, Yamakawa-san.
Natsuo-sama is in the Yasumizu's right now. I'll call him.
We can take you.
Yes, please do.
Now this was unusual. She hated outsiders, but she couldn't say no to Hashimoto-san's presence. Because he's from this fucking village. Yeah, okay, he's definitely... yeah.
Uematsu-san, was it? Are you sure you don't have to go to the hospital? We have a doctor here. Really? That's good then. We'll give you a hand. Want to get on?
Apologies for the trouble.
Sorry for Fusashi-kun. You're stuck with the back.
It was full of equipment, though. I can walk.
don't. I've been talking nonchalantly, but her response was a stern one. Well, it was true I could have caused some serious trouble if I arrived completely alone. I knew this from my experience arriving via Saranaga. Also, I wasn't supposed to be familiar with the area. I had to avoid looking suspicious.
My apologies.
It's fine, don't worry about it.
No, I mean, I am Rikaku Uematsu. Rikaku as in plum flower, and Uematsu as in spin and end.
Alright. Or as in loop. As spinning loop. Alright, we haven't properly introduced ourselves. Haruki Furusashi, Fusa from Kitchen, Ishii from Stone Tools, and Harukai from the Japanese for Neo-Confucianism.
Harukai Fusashi.
I felt like she didn't get it all. Anyway, thanks to that, I became an inhabitant of the back seat and a fellow passenger alongside Rikaku Uematsu. For a brief moment anyway, we didn't speak much. The only noteworthy thing was the strange smell of dried, aromatic wood she brought along. Besides that, I was struggling to keep my seat as we jostled down the bumpy road. Leaving the trail of the unpaved road, we arrived and dove through Uematsu-mizu. We passed the front of the Nosato mansion. Then the construction site. Tae-san's house, probably. Until finally we arrived at the place. By the time we got there, Uematsu-san seemed to be in perfect health and apologized profusely for the trouble she'd caused. That it would be best if she took care of the wound on her head. Mamma Mia-san and I went alongside her and took her to the house she was living in. It was the same place where she lost her mind and the rest of us had barricaded in.
Now then, I shall wait for Nasato-sama, just in case. Take care. Yes, Fusashi-sama, I will surely make it up to you.
Oh, don't worry about that.
Ba?
Whoa. I completely forgot about Uematsu-san's extra.
Oh, who's the girl? You did not see her yesterday? She wandered into Yasumizu 2 days ago. Oh, from Kamafujiyoshi? I can drive her back if you want. No, she...
Why not ask someone else? Rikaku-san needs to rest.
Oh, you have a point. Then we'll be leaving now. What about this girl? Miko. Ba?
Uematsu-san called to Miko and brought her inside. A stronger smell began wafting from the building. Maybe they were burning incense.
She's cute, isn't she?
Yeah. Her attire combined with her appearance made her look just mystifying.
Attire?
You didn't notice? While it's in the style of the Shinto shrine maiden uniform, the dark coloration is clearly Buddhism influenced. It's clearly religious garb. I never expected a place so remote to have its own religion. How exciting. It's good to be enthusiastic about your work, but there are limits to how far you should pry, don't you think? Man, everyone seemed to just appear out of nowhere this time.
Oh, Masato-san, I'm sorry. Are you here to treat Uematsu-san?
Mamma Mia-san gave a confident, journalistic smile and spoke to Kiyunosuke Nasatoshi. Yes, if you're aware of that, then please clear the way. And who's this man?
Oh, he's Harukai Fusashi-san. Higuchi-san sent him here to live.
Huh? Hello, I hope we get along. You're not from Fujiyoshi, are you? No, I'm not. Things happened, I left Tokyo and ended up here. What's Higuchi thinking? You have my sympathy, though. Anyway, I'm off. I'm coming in, Rikaku-san. Sympathy, huh? Condescending as always. Drink. After parting ways with him, we returned to the plaza. Hashimoto-san was taking photos of a small flower nearby. I can imagine that someone told him not to take photos of the houses. There were only ones here, and I couldn't hear anything but the wind. It was strangely quiet.
Like always, this place is...
She fell silent before finishing her derisive comment. Wise move. Wouldn't be good to finish that comment by comparing a place to a ghost town.
Let's go then. We were going to the dining hall, right?
Yes. Despite having next to nothing to do with me, Mamma Mia-san was helping me out a lot. Then again, she was heading here too.
Oh, I've been waiting for you. You're Fusashi-san, yes? And hello to you, too. Husei-san and Hashimoto-san.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
It took a lot to keep myself from saying hello, hello, hello. Higuchi-san sent me here. A pleasure to meet you. Soji Higuchi had pushed me into working at the dining hall here. Not the watering hole, but dining hall. He'd strongly emphasized that as it wasn't under his control. That was why it had been decided I meet Kaori-san. She had an oval, composed, slightly haggard-faced, and I couldn't see a hint of the demon from before. Apparently, it was for their children. Some parents could become both demons and angels. I kind of felt that applied to the entire history of mankind, for better or worse.
My, you're well behaved for someone so young.
Oh no, I'm just a failure.
Oh, come now. But are you sure you want to, you know?
It's fine. Many people say otherwise, but it seems like a nice place.
It is, but I don't know if you've been told. But this dining hall is more like a ration distribution house. This is hard for me to say, but you won't be paid. The most we can offer is meals.
I don't mind. If I can live a simple life, I don't need money.
My.
Ha! What are you, an old fart? Suddenly, you shit or a gun walked through the door, displaying the same recklessness that probably gotten him killed last time.
Yoshigitsu, why are you not in school?
Shut it. I said I wasn't going. Hey, you fucking zombie. Heard you come here because you couldn't die. That's so lame.
Yoshigitsu, how dare you?
Oh, word spread fast around here. They called and told Kaori-san about it. Then she told him and several other people, and it probably leaked. Yeah, I'm so lame.
The hell? You okay upstairs?
I can't say that I am. I'm an idiot.
Hey, Hag. Don't hire this guy. He'll mess up the place.
I don't want to hear that from someone who doesn't go to school or help around.
Hey, shut up. Hey, you brown-haired dumbass. You seriously came here to die? Or is that an act or something?
I twitched. As if.
Hey, Hag. Guy's weird as hell.
My name isn't Hag. I know I have nothing to do with this, but you should keep your joking around to a minimum.
Sorry. I just felt like we'd be living together for a long while, so I ought to be as friendly as possible. Yoshigitsu-kun, was it? Want to make a bet?
Huh? What kind of bet, you coward?
I looked into my large bag and took something out. Specifically, a new pocket knife. Use this to cut off my pinky. Everyone instantly fell silent. I ignored them and continued. Come on, I'll put my hand down and you'll put the knife right here.
The hell you say?
I'm saying I'll let you shorten my finger. It's a sign of our friendship.
I'm saying that's insane. Hell, that's something you do to yourself. You're making me do this cause you can't do it yourself, huh? You really are a coward, huh?
I can do it myself, but this is a bet and a test of courage. If you're gonna call me a coward, you gotta show you're not one yourself, right? Swing the knife down and you win. And if I don't back out, I win. That means that if you cut off my finger, we both win. Then we'll be friends with no hassle involved. What do you think, Yoshigitsu-kun? I smiled and pointed at the knife on the table with my finger.
The hell you talking about? Are you nuts?
That's pretty much all you're saying now, but yeah, I really am nuts. Or what? You prefer normal people? You, who looks like that and gives no respect to his mother? I prefer weird people, you see. Show me how insane you can get. Man, this was just too much fun. Yoshigitsu-kun looked right about ready to shit his pants. But it was time to back off. Gotcha. What a shame, huh, Yoshigitsu-kun? I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do something that hurt that much. Well, even if we can't get along now, we'll be friends eventually.
You actually think that helps?
Jokes aside, he was actually pretty sharp. He and his brother were nothing alike, but it wouldn't have been surprised me if he had also had talent for seeing through people. He had Higuchi blood in his veins, after all. Perhaps it was genetic. He left without saying another word. Kaori-san didn't even tell him to go to school.
I'm sorry. That was weird, wasn't it?
I'm sorry, that was weird, wasn't it?
No. My stupid son had it coming. That shocked me a bit, though. You have nerve, don't you?
No, I don't. I'm the one who called it off, so I lost. He probably would have done it if I kept pushing him. After all, he was the type who'd pick a fight with something inhuman and die. He probably just wanted to draw blood in front of his mother. I think he's a good kid at heart. My words almost made Kiarison smile, but...
Oh, but I do feel embarrassed. He grew too big for me to handle, and now all I can do is scold him. He decided to keep up the act of the strict...
She decided to keep with the act of the strict mother. Puberty and rebellion sure seemed complicated.
Fusashi-kun, come here for a sec.
I did just that. Yeah, the pretend is like, all right, kid, all right, come cut my fucking finger off. Yeah, you think I won't do it? Yeah, I think you won't do it. Oh yeah, well, okay, well you're right, I wouldn't do it. Looks him directly in the eyes, pussy.
Are you actually one of those kinds of people? Did they send someone after you? Would it be over if they caught you?
Huh? No, it's just the finger thing for no reason. Trust me. Yeah, I have played 3 Yakuza games. My assumption is, she was like, "Wait, are you actually a Yakuza?" And he's like, "No, don't worry about it." Anyway, I gotta piss. I'll be right back.
Okay, back. Ugh.
Harry Chan. We're back. Yeah, I know Yakuza Kiwami 3 is coming out at some point, but I know 3 doesn't have the good combat system still. I think it's the same one 2 had, and 2 was okay, but the Yakuza 1 and Yakuza 0, the shifting your battle style really just is the best. I guess that would make Yoshit. I guess that would make him what's his name? Majima. He'd be following us around everywhere. That's right. There is the one that was around Majima with the pirate. I do want to check out some of the newer role-playing or RPG style ones as well, because I know those have some still wacky fun stuff. So yeah, I should look up the pirate one, since that's part of the new ones as well. And I did see that had a Majima on the front. Huh? No, it's just the finger thing for no real reason. Trust me, I won't trouble the people here.
I hope so.
She was actually suspicious. I had to act out a better normal person. This wasn't the time to mess around. Anyway, I'm here to help with anything. Use me however you like.
Oh, very well. This was decided by those up there anyway. But before that, I wonder where you'll all be staying.
Oh, I kind of expected them to be already decided on that. I'm going to introduce myself to everyone. Who should I talk to about that?
The one in charge of the land is Yamikawa-san. The old lady from before? She lives in one of the houses we passed.
Oh yeah. When Takumi-san gave me the key to my dorm room, he told me he got it from the old lady. Was she like a landlord of Yasumizu? Maybe she's not too far, like visiting Uematsu-san or something?
Oh, did something happen?
She fell and hit her head, and I left that talk to Mamma Mia-san, and I opened the door and I could see the plaza. Also, it was taking me a lot of power to not say Mamma Mia-san. By the time I realized that someone else was on the other side, it was fully open. Seeing the person's face almost made me say her name in surprise. Kemi Serizawa. I couldn't save her. I couldn't fulfill my promise. But we meet again, thanks to the strange looping phenomenon. Whether it was something to feel thankful about was another matter. Nice to meet you. I kept my surge of emotion under control and gave an amicable smile. But, just as she made that simple sound, a lone tear ran down her cheek.
Oh, do I have something in my eye?
Her voice was calm, but the first tear made way for many more, and they were soon streaming from both eyes.
What? Kiori-san, do you have a hand towel?
Her reaction didn't seem to be anything more than confusion at her body going out of control.
Oh my, what's wrong? Here you go. I don't know. Do you have any tear gas here or something? Perhaps the shinosari I'm making for the journalist is rotten. Hey, I didn't mean that. What is it then? Menopause? Come now, you're too young for that. Sorry for acting weird.
She wiped her tears. Her eyes didn't look good, but her voice was cheerful and carefree, just like in my memory.
You're the person who suddenly ended up living here, right, mister?
That was a word you used on strangers. Why had she cried? Yes. Am I that scary?
No. You look perfectly fine. It's just, well, a mysterious event. My name is Kemi Serizawa. I'm a student back home for the time being. I know I made a poor first impression, but I hope we can get along.
She bowed to me. She really didn't know who I was. Due to the looping phenomenon, dying had sent me back to the point when I was wandering around on my bike. It was something that actually happened, and I had to accept it, but it was just also completely unreasonable. I didn't have any good way to reasonably explain it. Was the looping centered around me? Was I really the only one who had memories of last time? It wouldn't be strange for there to be someone else. My memories were fragmented right now, and I often remembered things only when it counted. Yeah, because it didn't let me remember all the times I tried escaping and I died anyway. Those are like non-canon, I guess. It could be that the others had forgotten almost everything, but still had certain fragments of their memories and feelings. I had to stop thinking about this. I couldn't have asked her to console me about the tragic end that hadn't even happened yet. I'd have been barking up the wrong tree. If everything worked out, I hoped I could get close to her again. Love that depended on death, despair, and suspicion. Bridge effect was better off staying in the realm of fiction where it belonged. We exchanged a few words, but I didn't have much time. I had to focus on getting a place to stay. Anyway, just like I said, I first went to Uematsu-san's house. Obviously, it didn't seem like there were many people inside. I hesitated for a moment, but ended up knocking.
Who is it?
That was Miko's voice. Could she understand me? I'm Fusashi from before.
Fusashi from before, son?
No, I am Haruki Fusashi. Is the old lady there?
No.
Oh, so I was off the mark.
Alright, see you then. Yeah. What? Oni-chan. Fusaki-san. Fusayuki-san?
Wrong.
Please.
Wait a moment.
Oh, Uematsu-san.
She told me to wait, so I did. Soon enough, the door opened up.
I apologize for the wait. How may I help you?
I'm looking for Yamakawa-san. From how she acted, I thought she came to visit you.
I haven't seen her yet.
Looks like it. I'll be going then.
Oh, what did you need her for?
Well, I'm gonna live here now, so I still don't have a place.
You will live here?
Yes, and I need to talk about that.
Oh.
What did she mean by this? But you cannot be without a place to stay.
Yeah?
Prepare for the feast when the evening mist arrives.
That made me flinch. Did it show on my face? The people of Fujiyoshi believe that the mist is an ill omen. If it comes, we must clean our bodies, shut ourselves in, and go to sleep. I almost said clean our bodies and take a shit. I'm like, what? No, you shit first and then you shower. That's you do not do that in the opposite thing. You you shit first and then you shower. Cleanse, shelter, dream. That's an interesting tradition. That was what I would have thought if I didn't know about the tragedy.
This might be a bit presumptuous, but I do know of one empty house.
Huh? She told Miko to entertain herself and took a key from her house. Instead of telling me more about it, she insisted on going outside despite my polite protests. I had no choice but to follow her. We passed the plaza and went down the hill. She tripped 2 times.
It hurts.
Looks like it.
I fall and hurt my head on the regular, so I am used to pain.
You really shouldn't walk around grass like this in that attire.
This is an Uematsu duty.
It is?
The spider are bedroom woman servants.
Bedroom woman servants. Bedroom woman servants. Bedroom woman servants. Hey, I didn't actually fuck it up. I was waiting to get tongue-tied on that one. That was a new term. Bedroom woman servants. Women who serve you in the bedroom? That sure sounded sexy. And the spider was one of the guardians of Great Lord Shinai. Had reminded me. Kimi had told me that the Uematsu were the family of the spider.
When the power of the Yomi rises from Saranaga, it is said to bring madness first and foremost.
That was why the Uematsu of old had the role of protecting the dreams of the villagers. Were they like night watchmen or something? It wouldn't have been weird for a police-like force to still retain power in this day and age. But you'd fall all the time at night, so you'd walk around during the day instead, huh?
Oh.
Was she alright? By the way, do all the heads of the village have roles like that?
Yes, I'm surprised you noticed.
I came here through Kamafujiyoshi, and Higuchi-san, well, he looked pretty powerful.
The Higuchi family are the monkey, protectors of the watering hole's flame.
There was that term again, watering hole. They used fire when it wasn't allowed, huh?
Yes, we are told they claimed to run a watering hole, while in actuality were teaching people to use fire. And they use this to gain influence as a source of everyone's food.
What about the Nasato-san's family? They're one of the head families too, aren't they?
The Nasato are the crow, the Eve Eaters.
I have no idea what that means.
They inspect if a corpse belonged to a Yamabito or not.
They performed autopsies? That didn't seem very important. That's part of the game, idiot. What do you mean? Or you mean how their family came to such power if they were just doing autopsies? Okay.
They were actually the healers. They were the only ones who could use aconite. Aconite, also known as wolfsbane.
The Sato is the family that made medicine. No, wait, no, that wasn't his voice. What the fuck was I doing for his voice?
Nasato is the man that made medicine.
Wolfsbane, the plant. There's aconite in the food. Oh yeah, that was true. Well, an autopsy was a medical procedure, and if they could use poisonous plants on top of it, they could have easily garnered lots of respect. I see. What was the last one?
The Migamura.
Right. I hadn't met a single person linked to that one.
The snake or the tower lookouts. The Uematsu aren't the lookout family.
That doesn't give me enough.
Tower, as in watchtower.
So they're in charge of the military here?
No. They used to build watchtowers and watch the stars. They made calendars, read the weather, and led the local farms. That role made them respected, and they eventually became Shinai-sama's priests.
I see. We had our TV weather ladies now, but back in the day, astronomy and meteorology were linked to divination, leading many to consider them special powers that let them predict the future and bring good things in general.
Farming was the building block of a civilization, having it as a matter of life and death. So it was only natural for those who offered guidance in that field to become leaders. Thank you for telling me. This place has a rich history, huh? I think I could grow attached to it.
I see. This is the first time I have heard such words spoken.
Really? It's pretty interesting, though.
I never explained this to someone born outside of Fujiyoshi.
All right. She refused to go into detail last time. Infiltrating the village really was a good idea, huh?
Oh, look. We have gone all the way. Here it is.
Yeah, we really did go all the way, huh? Sure takes a lot out of you.
No, we did not do anything strange.
Her speech was still odd, but what the hell is up with her imagination? She could send my verbal curveballs into another dimension. Well, obviously she's a streamer, which is why she keeps picking up on all the innuendos. Because that's what we do as streamers. We make everything into a haha suni. Haha, they said but. Anyway, there was a wooden house. It was much like the ones near the plaza, except a bit more aged. It looked relatively stable, though.
Most of Fujiyoshi is actually the private property of the Higuchi, the Nasato, and the Uematsu. Fujiyoshi used to be owned by the Migamura alone, but now that extends to all the current heads serving the Migamura.
That was new to me. So you're saying this place belongs to you, Ikaku-san?
Oh.
What? No, sorry for being so forward with you.
No, I do not mind. But yes, this land is mine. A person lived here until recently.
So, has he passed away or something?
Yes, it was a peaceful death.
That sounded like a real blessing here in Nazumizu.
Does that bother you? It is clean inside.
I have been lying if I said I wasn't bothered, but I chose to take a look. Okay, well that adds something else. There was somebody who was here but recently died. Maybe they didn't recently die. Maybe they're just they're just fucking around for this for the whole feast. She hadn't been kidding. Or maybe we should find out who is this person who recently died. And it might be interesting. Maybe they purposely killed this person off so that he wouldn't fuck with something. Who knows? Inside was shabby and the wood was aged, but the floor was clean. Maybe that's another thing. We mentioned how long it took us to get here. Maybe the fact that the person who was living here and now that we're here means that someone trying to come here to kill us would just waste a lot of their time. So maybe that would put us lower on the totem pole. They're like, fuck, I got to spend an entire hour walking there and then back. I ain't doing that. The inside was shabby and the wood was aged, but the floor was clean and I couldn't see much dust. Or it'll be something stupid like, oh, well, he's so far away. Of course the new guy couldn't have done it. Look how far he had to go. The tatami was new too, though that meant it had been changed. But at least there wasn't some human-shaped mark on the floor. There was no furniture, but I could easily get a futon or something. What about the bath?
I do not think this place receives gas.
That's bad. What can I do if the mists come?
You wish to be able to cleanse? You merely have to fill that phial with well water and wipe yourself with it.
That's enough?
Yes. I hear it was rare to bathe in warm water in Fujiyoshi.
Oh yeah, because only the watering hole could use fire.
Yes.
That made sense. Anyway, I was now ready. Are you sure I can use this house?
Yes. That would make all the daily cleaning worth it.
Huh? You clean the place yourself?
Yes, because taking in the corruption is one of Uematsu's roles. Also, keeping myself occupied served as a good distraction.
Did something bad happen? She fell silent. Sorry, that was insensitive of me.
No, it was not that something happened. I was afraid of what could happen.
She looked at the mountain beyond the valley. No, it was the valley itself and the Saranaga Rapids at the bottom. Back to the heads. Oh, shit. Back to the heads. Do the Migamura still predict the weather and stuff? Part of me thought I might be prying too deeply.
During spring and autumn festivals, they ask for abundant harvests, dance for them, and chant ritual prayers. I heard this was supposed to be based on what they did in the past. Thankfully, we had no major droughts or famines.
Oh, so in a way they have a perfect track record?
Yamikawa-san knows this well. You might wish to ask her. She would be pleased to talk.
That seemed true. Oh, sorry for taking up so much of your time, Yuimatsu-san. Thank you so much. I'll make it up to you.
Oh. I also merely wanted to thank you for your help during my embarrassing accident.
Wasn't she basically blaming me here? Lots of things happened already, but I hope we keep getting along well. If you think I can help, don't be afraid to ask.
Fusashi-sama.
Oh, and Sama doesn't suit me. You can be more casual. You don't have to use polite speech.
Oh.
Crap.
Fusashi. I can't, Fusashi-sama. I would like to ask if you the same. Please call me however you like.
Was I actually raising some flags here? Was the game this easy these days? Did she seriously fall in love over a bit of help after a head injury? Was this a soap opera or something? No, this isn't a soap opera. This is weeb trash. No, this is some anime bullshit. Well, not that I was complaining. Then Rikaku-san.
Oh.
No, this was something else. She was just especially vulnerable to men. As a family head, she was probably either reserved from a distance or considered an enemy. Takumi did the latter. Oh yeah, Sir Bobby Bob, congratulations, being my only YouTube chatter. It will probably stay that way anyway. But I do at least enable it so I can see if someone types in there. So there you go, Sir Bobby Bob. You shall be the lead in my army to make YouTube give a no one watches the live streams anyway. They only watch the videos that I post because like whoever few watches the channel anyway. So I figured I just want to put it on YouTube just in case maybe it did pull a couple extra eyeballs, but nothing really yet. Besides, I did get, and I read this last time, I did get someone trying to scam me in the comments of a video. So, you know, like moving on up in the world, right? He probably talked to someone who didn't care about those things. Yeah, YouTube is literally like, yeah, congratulations, YouTube, fix your shit. YouTube literally just needs to rip off Twitch's emote system and the way its chat can be played around with, and then maybe it would be an okay streaming thing. But right now, this YouTube is just mostly video storage and just here for extras. It actually made me feel kind of bad for her. Okay then, let's call each other Yuimatsu-san and Fusashi-san. Let's become good friends.
Oh, friends?
Yes.
I'd love that.
In a part of the village with no one but us, we exchanged a deep bow. Yuimatsu-san then returned, and I checked the house for any holes. It seemed fine on that front. No monsters could get in. Alright, so my guess is maybe she actually has been so she keeps saying her role is to absorb the corruption. Honestly, I think she might be constantly being affected by some sort of chemical or something maybe, which is why she seems so ditzy. So it could just be a personality trait, or maybe this is hinting at like she really is being affected by something that's constantly around her that she doesn't know. And in quotes, she's absorbing corruption because she's the one who's dealing with whatever the hallucinogen, or maybe I was right and it's lead and she's just getting lots of fucking lead in her brain. Let's see. Yuimatsu-san then returned, and I checked the house for any holes. It seemed fine on that front. No monsters could get inside. Anyway, either that or it really is just an anime trope bullshit where it's just like, ah, yes, this is the naive one that is oddly into you. But you're picking Kemi, unless you choose the harem route. Lamau. Anyway, I had my place. Now, I had to get one for Mamma Mia-san and Hashimoto-san. I tried to think of a way to encourage them to leave before the mist came,
but all the things I could think of seemed unnatural. That meant my only option was the opposite. Convincing them was no way to leave, so they had to stay. Yeah, that, and also like Twitch has like channel points which can be used for odds and ends, which I only ever really use for the Pokemon Nuzlocke. Honestly, I did consider just letting them die. And honestly, I've been rethinking that too, because it is kind of used, because the way it gets used, it kind of gets used a bit more often than I would want. And it's the only real redemption of channel points I have on the channel anyway, so. Besides, like, queuing up for a nickname. Honestly, I did consider just letting them die. As long as I survived, I didn't really care if they did. But that didn't sit right with me. I wasn't a good guy, but not doing whatever I could right now seemed careless. My ultimate goal is to escape the loops, but at the moment, all I could really do was prevent the tragedy before me. I'd think of something else if it just didn't work out. But for now, I had no reason to abandon my humanity. Oh yeah, we don't abandon our humanity. We need those to rekindle our bonfires. I mean, come on, man. These are basic rules. Every time you need a couple more Estus because we need to overcome the next dialogue boss, we just need to kindle the fire a couple times. That was why I returned to the plaza. It was still really empty, and the two journalists were probably working. This was my chance. I approached the left back wheel on Hashimoto-shi's van. Reaching into my bag, I pulled out the hammer and nails I'd bought. I placed the tip of the nail against the tire and hammered it in. I could hear the sound of the air leaving. That had to be good enough. I then did the same with the other rear tire, as well as the front tires. Fucking psycho. There. And everybody watched me do it. After that, I added a random array of extra nails around those to make it look like a trap or something had been run over in the ground. A trap? Why did you want to make it look like a trap instead of just like, ah, shit, we must have ran over some nails or something? I don't know. They couldn't leave now. I already knew they didn't have anything that could fix the tires, but they couldn't get in touch with any road surface until after the mist passed. If someone from Kamafuji Yoshi came to pick them up, and they left without their car, that would have been fine too. Not that I expected anyone to come. Now, I just had to convince them that they had to stay here. It was really a haphazard plan. It seemed like the locals trapped them on purpose. I'd have to think of something to say about that. Anyway, I did what I could for them. Now I just had to wait and... Fusashi-sama. Whoa, whoa, whoa! My heart almost burst out of my chest. What's the matter, Rikaku-san?
Oh, that name again.
I'm sorry, what's wrong, Yurimatsu-san?
I am hungry, so I came to eat.
That? Well, I was pretty hungry myself, too. Wait, there was something more important to worry about. Had she seen me?
This is a large car.
It is. What the hell is up with this pressure? Was it some Kamafuji Yoshi head superpower? She was waiting for me to confess or something. I had no choice but to think of a new lie. But looking at her red eyes made me feel like she'd see through any bullshit I'd spun. Crap. Maybe she'd just come clean and...
I am hungry.
Was she actually not thinking anything? What do you think I was doing here?
Huh? Searching for wood lice?
Did she think I was as old as Miko? No. Look here, it's flat.
Oh dear.
See? It's got this inside.
So long and thick.
Oh, baby! And look how deep this is.
Oh dear. How forceful.
Hey, the brown-haired man has taken you to san in broad daylight.
Oh.
Man, what the hell is with their appearances at this time? Okay, yeah, she can smell the horny. She's like, oh, I know what's going on here. Okay, yeah, I couldn't lie. This conversation was pretty messed up. That's an outrageous misunderstanding. I'll go call for the journalists.
What? You gotta be kidding me.
Misako-san was completely perplexed. Now this is troubling. I still couldn't read his expression, but I could totally sympathize with someone being basically stranded in a place like this. How unfortunate. They weren't suspicious of me, so I acted like an innocent, sympathetic bystander. Oh, the heartache. They were supposed to head back tonight. But are we going to do?
Oh, we were supposed to head back tonight. What are we going to do?
Do you have any plans?
I'm fine, but what about you?
My daughter's birthday is close.
Oh, Nami-chan.
Ow, the heartache. I had no idea he had a daughter. Or was married, for that matter. The fact that it had come as a surprise just made my pain worse. But I shouldn't feel guilty about this. If I just ignored them, they'd have been torn apart by a monster.
Oh my. What do we do? Uematsu has no cause in the first place. Matsuo-sama might have something useful.
Those words made me twitch. Those tires are special, so that would be difficult. We do have a single spare, but...
Let's contact the road service, Soribi-san. May we use the phone? Yes, of course. Right this way.
They all returned to the dining hall.
I have a bad feeling about this.
I was left alone with a peculiar duo. But then we were joined by a muscly silhouette who'd come from the fields. What are you doing, Oba-chan? Uematsu, and who are you?
This is Arakai Fusashi-sama.
She went out of her way to introduce me, though she still couldn't leave off the sama. I'm moving here. I hope we get along. Oh, you're the guy, huh? I'm Takumi Muro. A pleasure. You don't look like you're from Kamafuda Yoshi. An outsider, then? That's rare. Sorry you ended up here. They really had to do something about their habit of showing sympathy for anyone who came here. Yes, I came here from the city. I'm sorry I'm so suspicious and flashy. I'll re-dye my hair. All right.
That'd be good.
Well, she hates that sort of thing. I don't really care, though. I care more about something. Oh, well, she hates that sort of thing. I don't really care, though. I care more about something else. As in, if you're useful in the field, unlike Kamafuda Yoshi, Yasumizu doesn't abandon its people, but we don't have room for those who can't earn their keep. While mentioning Kamafuda Yoshi, he glanced at Uematsu-san. Well, you look like you have the build for it. You can start by mowing the grass around the upper fields. But I was told to work at the dining hall. What? You're working with Kaori-san? Crap, I messed up.
Takumi, you're a fine man. Just tell her how you feel.
What do you mean? I'm not thinking anything that outrageous.
Okay, so this is the... So, what is this, the horny fucking one? This is the... Last one was the you learn everything, and this is the one where everyone's just, like, horny the entire fucking time. Everyone's just, like, innuendos and, like, you bitch, you with my girl? No one cooks me in this village, you die for... I'm pretty sure YouTube doesn't. I have no idea about YouTube running ads or anything like that. I assume it doesn't. It might though. I don't know. I haven't really watched YouTube live streams. Like, who the fuck does?
But it supports 2 grown sons and feeds everyone with her frail arms. I'm gonna kill any guy that tries to take advantage of her.
That was plenty outrageous.
Hey, what did you do to get her to take you? Spill it.
It took a lot of effort to keep myself from lying and fueling the fire. Oh, Higuchi-san from Kamafuda Yoshi, right? He sent me to work with her.
Takumishi became apathetic. Oh, I guess that's fine then.
What, did you want me to take her from you? What are you getting sad about now? I'll try to become able to work outside, too.
That's great and all, but for now, just watch. If we made you do too much, they might get on our case about it.
Huh? They care about the kind of work people do here?
They don't. They just want to be sure we listen to them. So, what are you all up to? Who's Kaori-san?
The journalist's car broke, so she went to make a call.
Huh? That's pretty bad. Can they leave?
It's best to assume they won't have it fixed today.
Awful.
This was getting nowhere. Do you have any open rooms?
The house was the only one I could give.
Uematsu-sama, you gave Gen-san's house to him?
Yes, houses die if people do not live in them.
Take care of that house, will ya? A good person used to live there.
Of course.
You don't dare use it as the place where you take advantage of Uematsu-sama. That cannot happen to her, understand?
Oh, yeah, this is really the fucking horny arc. What? You two are like that? It's a complete misunderstanding, but it seems to be taken as fact. I appreciate if it wasn't. We went off on a tangent. What are we to do? I'd have liked it if I, the newbie, didn't have to be the one making this conversation progress. I really don't think it's good if outsiders stay in Yasumizu and neither side will like it. Ba-chan, you got any free houses?
The one I gave Miko was the last one. The rest had holes or didn't have walls. You can't even shelter in those.
Liar. There was room in the dorm. Oh. You sure slept for long. Go out and help the old man.
Oh, sorry. I got the habit of sleeping in while I was away. By the way, Teiba-chan, there's one free room in the dorm.
Chi-chan, you know the place was built by Yoshimitsu-san. He worked hard negotiating with the 4 families to get it built. He said he wanted for at least the children here to live in places closer to Kamafuda Yoshi. That's why he had the concrete stairs built on the hill and...
Started talking about the past again.
She started talking about the past again.
Well, Fushashi, you see what kind of place Yasumizu is. I already knew. Anyway, I hope they can fix the car. This was bad. Just as I suspected, the road service could take a long time to get here. They'd be here sometime in the middle of the night if they tried to come right away. The mountain road was even more dangerous at night, so they agreed on the service coming in the early morning, which led us back to the talks about where they'd stay. Though, by the time that discussion was over, Yamiwaka-san, who has done talking, had left. She really gave the outsiders the cold shoulder, huh? Takumi-san tried suggesting they stay in their van, and I was surprised to hear that they were receptive to the idea. Them being a man and a woman was one thing, but I was more concerned that the van had enough space for someone that huge and another person to lie down. Still, it looked like they were about to agree and just leave it at that, but that was no good. They wouldn't survive the night like that. So far, the only people I hadn't met were the students, who were in school. Kanzo Makishima-san, who was out hunting since morning, and the old man who cried wolf. Since I'd met just about everyone, I chose to take my leave. It wouldn't have been natural if I tried to talk to them out of that. I had to get places for them, but my only option was one I didn't have much faith in. Anyway, doorbell.
Oh, you're the new one. What do you want?
There's a problem that I think only a village head can solve.
While I don't mind the sentiment, you can knock off the awkward flattery. Why not act more like yourself?
Was my politeness that insincere? Sorry, now about what I came here for? Is it true the mists are coming soon? The effects of my words on Kiyanosuke was impressive. He tried to act calm, but his wandering eyes made it clear he wasn't.
What? Who told you about that? Who mentioned that superstition to you right when you got here?
Yuimatsu-san. He fell silent. The guy was easy to read.
Someone else told me
about the mists themselves, though. The one who sent me here was Soji Higuchi-san.
Oh, Soji. He's 1 year younger than me. What did he say?
I might have misheard it, but he said that there might be mists soon. There was no truth in my words, but they would come true when the mist came. But Yuimatsu-san said there's something that must be done if the mists come. There are people who stuck here because their vans had flat tires. I'm wondering what they should do.
Oh, that's news to me. How troublesome.
It is. Well, what do you think?
Early summer mists here in Yasumizu happen only every decade or two.
Decade or two?
Well, it wouldn't be impossible for them to appear now, but I don't think I saw signs of it happening anytime soon.
I see. By the way, what's so dangerous about it? Everyone seems so tense.
When the mists come to Yasumizu, someone always dies.
Was that an okay thing to say?
Oh, don't understand. The mists you get here are far more dense than any you know. I hear they make you as good as blind.
I knew that, but yeah, I couldn't have imagined mists that dense unless I saw them for myself.
That's why the people here are taught to stay indoors whenever that happened. But you have fools who still go outside and fall to their deaths or something.
I see.
Did you see the destroyed construction site not far from here? That was a project run by my family, but it ended when the mist led to an on-site deaths. Seriously, they could have pulled out sooner, but the overseer was too strict.
I felt stupid for considering crazy theories about some Saranaga illness. All right, but that adds more. So the landslide was caused by the mists. That makes me feel like there is something there that's, that either triggered the landslide that's going on, or like them saying that definitely feels like there's more other nonsense. Where were you hiding? Like he mentioned, oh, there's a giant fog machine. Where's the giant fog machine? Up in the fucking thing somewhere. I mean, could be, probably not. Like I said, I still feel like there's some mundanity working here, besides the fact we're in a magical fucking loop. I felt stupid for ever considering crazy theories about some Saranaga illness. That mist was dangerous in and of itself, and that made for good official reason to stay indoors when it came. He seemed to believe the official reason and thought it wouldn't kill him. If he actually knew about the dangers lurking in the mist, he'd do everything he could to leave Yasumizu. He was from a head family, but he didn't seem to know all the secrets. She, on the other hand, must have known something. I'd love to find out more, but... Hold on. He just told me something weird. The mists led to on-site deaths? Did you see the aftermath of the landslide uphill? It's been like that ever since the Nasato got to work on this place 8 years ago and it collapsed. They were too freaked out to even clean it up. I ended up digging out the workers' corpses and burying them. I was told that Takumi-san buried the bodies. But if that happened in the mist, during a feast of the Yomi Purge, didn't that mean he should have been present during the feast? And no one else here remembers a feast. Even the grannies didn't act like she remembered. Only the old man, possibly, unless Granny also does remember. From what I could tell last time, the mist scared the people here and drove them to panic. Kanzo Makashima hadn't reacted like that, while the old wolf guy had said that the wolves were coming. It was likely they'd experienced the feast before. Yeah, so maybe the people who died in that landslide were, in quotes, more corruption deaths. But I didn't know what happened to the other people, or what I'd even do with that information. Or maybe the fact that the mist came by accident when they weren't supposed to be triggered, but the death game never happened. It was just like, oh no, it was just fog. The one thing I could say was that the survivors either killed or silently approved of killing people. Kemi could be one of them, and so could the students. Even if I couldn't connect all the dots, it was entirely possible. I had to keep myself together. I had many things to think about later, but for now, I had the goal to complete. And yet, the people at the main house... Say, Nasato-san, you said that the construction site is yours, right? Right, what of it? Is that prefab usable? For what? I just thought of it being a better place than the troubled outsiders to stay at. After thinking for a moment, Kinosuke-shi returned inside. I expected him to say something like, why would I, the village head, suddenly my hand with Yasumizu problems? Or something, so this came as a surprise. Kinosuke-shi came back shortly. This should be it. The previous head of the family brought it here after the incident, and just as I suspected, it was inside the key box. Thank you very much. Wait, I didn't say I'd give it to you. In fact, why would I, a village head, suddenly my hands with Yasumizu's problems? And there it was. You have a point. I'm sorry. I'm joking. I didn't say I wouldn't give it either. Wow, what a pain in the ass. Unlike Muro or Sarazawa, you seem to know how to behave around the heads. Yasumizu inhabitants or not, I value such people. We village heads are responsible for maintaining order in Fujiyoshi. Thank you very much. Oh, so he believed the contempt of the noblesse oblige. Same, he hadn't had any ability for it. Ah, I know that artifact set. Makes my ultimates a little bit more stronger, I think. Or whatever the fuck that is, what its ability was. First, I had to check the place was even usable. The equipment and materials were all gone. The only thing of note was a sink on the wall. The flooring was cold and a bit sandy, but with a bit of clearing and a futon, it could be a decent living space. There was no running water, but if we placed a water bucket here, whoever was living here could easily wash themselves. Ooh, more keys that we're going to need. We do not have them yet, though.
Not at all. All right, so there's definitely more. Cool. Oh, probably this is we learn more information about the mist and the collapse, and we talk to Takumi and find out what he meant by moving the bodies, and then we can come here, and while we're examining it, we can actually investigate and snoop around, probably. That's probably what that key unlocks. I now had one empty living space. Getting the other, the dorm room, was even harder. I didn't even think I could force it at this stage. However, it was still a better option than just wandering around looking for alternatives that may not exist. This would be a real waste of time if I hadn't ended up saving them. I wasn't about to stop trying, though. It was still just a bit of afternoon. Honestly, I was a bit hungry. But there was a strange, powerful reek coming from the dining hall. I had no idea what could have caused this. Was it a toilet? No. It's more along the lines of rot. Animal rot at that. Did someone already die? Memories made me forget the situation was still peaceful, and I dashed. Suddenly, a dense wall rose up before me. What? I was pushed away. Ah! I spaced out for a moment, then I realized I bumped into the local hunter, Kondo Makashimashi. You're the one, eh? This is the first time I'd seen this old gun in his hands, but it's even more troubled by his face. I was pretty sure I'd seen old Lady Tay wear something similar the first time. All that happened later made me forget about it, but man, was it weird. Sorry, there was a weird smell, so I was wondering if everything was okay. It's Shinari. What? Huh? The Shishinari boiling. They're feeding the journalists. Oh yeah, Saka-san said there was here to eat something strange. Be careful, boy. Alright, may I have your name? Makashima. And he left. The bundle he had in his left hand told me he had only been here to get his lunch. He was as tough as I remembered. That chest made it hard to believe how old he was. What a hunk of a man. And that thought made me seem like some love-struck teen girl. See, I said this is definitely the horny loop. Anyway, that cleared things up. The smell was caused by cooking. I gathered my resolve and went inside.
Oh, where were you? I had things for you to do.
Kiyoe-san glared at me a bit. Crap. I'd have to make up for this point I'd lost. I'm sorry. I had business with Asato-san.
Business with him? Did Higuchi tell you to give him a message?
No, Mamamiya-san, Hashimoto-san, can I have a moment? Besides the one in charge here, and that left sleepyhead, you also had the journalists who were busy taking photos and jotting down notes. I was impressed by their professionalism being able to get back to work right after the problem was solved, although it actually wasn't. Sorry to bother you while you're working. Asato-san said that if it's not good to spend the night in the van and gave me the key to the prefab.
Oh, what? That blockhead. I mean, Nasato-san said that?
Well, it was nice to find out how she usually called him. Apparently, there's one more room, too. So why don't you ask if they can open that so you can spend the night under a roof?
I appreciate the sentiment, but I don't want to force anyone to give me a room.
Of course you didn't. That was the normal thing to think.
Kaori-san, we really should open the dorm. Losing to Nasato-san would bring shame to Yasumizu. I wouldn't say anything about that, but yes. Even if there weren't any bad people here, I don't feel good about letting a young lady sleep in a car.
Kiawe-san, can we have lunch?
The most important person around joined the scene.
What?
Nasato-san gave me a key. It's for the prefab, but still. Now one of them can rest with a roof over their head.
Oh, that's...
I wasn't explicit about it, but she instantly understood what I was getting at.
But that place is...
I don't mind having a new neighbor.
By the way, what kind of place is the dorm anyway?
That is the place for the children who will soon leave Yasumizu. To live in Yasumizu means to be part of Yasumizu for the rest of your life. But that doesn't apply to the children. That makes it the only special place here, and the people of the Kamba Fujiyoshi silently agree.
Oh. So this was just another way of Kamba Fujiyoshi exerted power over Yasumizu. I could understand why they didn't want to mess with it. But I knew from experience that it wasn't an insurmountable obstacle. They'd open it up for an emergency, but tomorrow would be too late.
and I didn't already have a good way to communicate them that this was, indeed, an emergency.
It's fine. I'm used to sleeping in a car. You can use the prefab, Hashimoto-san. That car is more than enough for me. Not to mention you're the one doing all the driving.
Shouldn't it be the other way around?
We're talking about the prefab uphill, aren't we? I'm not sure I want to let a woman sleep there.
As we pondered, "Excuse me." Hashimoto-san actually spoke up and walked over to Tei-san.
Can I help you?
"If you have a proper room, could you please open it for her? She is a tough lady who can handle work in this field, but she is still unmarried. As her partner, I don't want her to do anything she shouldn't have to. I will thank you in whatever way I can, so please." He bowed. His large body bent in two, but Tei-san still had to look up at him.
I understand, but
Whoa, Tei-san was on the verge of giving in? "Hey, Fusashi, so you came back, huh? Why were you out when Kiori's son was making food? You've got some nerve leaving when she needed your help."
Oh, Takumi-chan. Perfect timing.
"Huh, what?" Perfect timing indeed. He was the best option to convince Tei-sama. And in the end, she agreed. The word unmarried meant a lot to her. Apparently, she seemed to become more considerate of Mamma Mia after that. One of the reasons for this victory was the pressure emitted by Hashimoto-san's massive presence, and the other was the fact that he presented a reason that resonated with her. And then Takumi-san joined the scene and gave her the final push. This wasn't exclusively Yasumizu, but finding a compromise in a community without common interests was really difficult. It was especially hard when you couldn't give proper reasons for your words. They'd start to suspect I was a slacker, but I said I was called by Nasato-san, and though it would surprise them, they believed me. As a result, I had to make up a story about how he was shy but actually considerate of everyone, which is why he called me. After all, I couldn't let them think I decided this by myself. After we got the key from Tei-san, the two journalists and I left the dining hall to prepare our living spaces. The dorm room was clean to begin with. There was gas, water, and a futon, exactly like I remembered it. The house I'd be staying at was clean too. All I had to do was get a futon from the dining hall and fill the file with water. The prefab, though, took a while to clean. Takumi-san brought the cleaner pieces of tatami from the abandoned shacks here, which made it a relatively livable space.
Well, if we're staying here, we might as well experience the local daily life. Shame won't be able to make an article out of it.
They seemed to be satisfied with that reason. "I hope we can work in a safer place next time."
Sorry, most of my gigs are like this, aren't they?
"Oh, but this is better for me. I have insurance, and it's far safer than a war zone."
You have been in such places? He did more legwork than looks could have you believe.
"But you're a woman, Q-chan."
I keep telling you not to mention that. There are no genders while we're working.
"Sadly, dangerous places are riskier for women than men."
Well, you know, I can't get any better jobs or a man.
"It's rough, huh?"
The relationship was just that of good business partners. Mamiya-san was a passionate journalist, while Hashimoto-san was a senior who was worried about her and helped her out. There was a decent balance here. That's unexpected. You're good looking, so I figured you'd be more popular. Flattery won't get you anywhere. Oh, believe me, if I was less pathetic, I'd have gone for you without hesitation. Haha, what an honor. How old are you, by the way? 24. And I'm about to enter my 30s. I feel really bad. Oh, come on. Unmarried 30-year-olds weren't rare in this day and age. Yeah, me. Though I preferred women who were a bit more bothersome. Yeah, yes. I like my women who are more pain in my ass.
"What's this tub?"
Ah, it's to clean your body.
"But we'll only be here for a day."
I was told it's a custom here. Can you tell us more? All right, this is a good chance to share info with them. Presenting it as info I had heard from Irimatsu-san and Kinosuke-shi, I told them about what had to be done when the mist came. I couldn't sound too knowledgeable, though,
since I was a newbie here, but I was able to imply that there was a supernatural danger involved. Mamiya-san was extremely intrigued and quickly asked for extra info, like the stuff about the four head families. I did my best to mention only what I found out this time around, but I couldn't help worrying that I would say too much.
Interesting. That's so Shinto-like, though. Wonder how it was passed on. Strange Torii, families with guardians in their names, accustomed to cleanse only when the mists come? They don't seem too hospitable to guests, though. What a mystery. How did such unique customs survive in such a remote farming village? Was it even more peculiar back in the day?
It really does look like this is your calling cue, Chan.
Oh, apologies. Anyway, we have places to sleep in, and know what to do if the mists come. Let's go back to work.
You're satisfied with the dorm, right? Then I'll use this place. If you want, you can use the cabin downhill. This prefab is pretty cramped. Don't worry, I can sleep anywhere. And you're going to live here, aren't you? You should get used to your new home as quickly as possible.
He had a point. Also, I borrowed the place from Yurimatsu-san. I didn't have the right to let just anyone use it. Oh, there's a reason to tell him no. Oh, okay. But we need a new key for that one. Alright, sorry about that.
Don't be. We should be thanking you. You did a lot for us, didn't you?
Huh?
That Nasato person didn't seem like the considerate type, so I can only guess that you got him the help.
Oh, you're giving me too much credit.
This girl tends to push herself too hard. Thank you for caring for her where I couldn't.
Hey, you're only a dozen years older than me. Don't act like my dad.
There was something about him that bothered me. Anyway, with that alone, I figured I'd spend my remaining time trying to rub elbows with the rusty Yasumizu. Though I already had a job here, I had to make up for not helping out in the dining hall before noon.
What?
Huh?
You can't work on an empty stomach.
Kiari-san gave me a bowl. For some reason, her smile seemed a bit warped. It probably wasn't on purpose, though. It was just the effect of the smell. No, the miasma coming from the food she gave me. It was just that powerful. Are you upset about something?
Huh? No. How would you think that?
I couldn't feel any anger in her voice or expression, but being new here. But I couldn't understand the mentality of someone trying to present something like this as food. As I twitched in fear that this was punishment for slacking off, Kaori-san suddenly gave me a full smile.
Oh, it's the smell, isn't it? This is shinashare. It's like this because of a traditional technique to keep game meat fresh.
I see. So this was the infamous dish made from fermented game meat. The nere part of the name... the nere part of the name had to refer to a long fermentation, just like in nerizushi for fermented sushi. I had no clue how they gave it such a strong smell, though. Did they refuse the same marinade for decades? Like with salts they use for sun-dried mackerel?
They used to eat it raw before, but they eventually found it's dangerous, and now we boil it or use it in stews or soups. It used to be a celebrated dish here. This is what's left from what I made for the journalists. Please consider it my way of welcoming you.
Okay, I had to steel myself. I actually had a soft spot for strange delicacies. I tried sun-dried mackerel and any other weird foods I could get my hands on. No way I could refuse this.
I mean, I've been eating Yasumizu's food since I was a little girl.
Would eating this turn me into a zombie or something? No. I would prove that idea wrong. Thank you. Okay, I guess... maybe us staying in that cabin means we don't come down here for food at some point? I don't know, who knows? No, there would be a different key somewhere. Anyway, I bit of the bowl and the chopsticks. We needed to eat food anyway here to be locked in, I think. Brown rice covered in tons of crumbled bits of meat. The soup stock seemed as light as what they used in Kamafujiyoshi, but I didn't know what to think of the meat's color. What's up with the greasy, shiny green surface? The reek attacked my nose once again. Damn it, I couldn't back out now. Gathering my resolve, I quickly put some stock, rice, and meat into my mouth. And I died of wolfsbane instantly. What?
Was it good? I really couldn't tell. I had absolutely no idea what I was eating here. The texture, the sensation on the tongue, everything was new to me. The taste was extremely acidic, salty, and rich in animal protein. But that weird smell smothered most of it, forcing me to continuously convince myself that I was eating something good. Felt like my body would reject it all if I didn't. Holding the aversion at bay, I somehow swallowed it. The aftertaste was better than I expected, but as the reek faded, it made way for a strong beastly smell. Yeah, in a way, the taste was on an exciting form of entertainment by itself.
Oh my, you're such a good eater.
I could get used to this.
Yes, I understand what you mean. I didn't know what to think of it when I first came here, but now I sometimes even crave it.
I wasn't lying. I really did seem like a taste I could get used to. It was hard to hesitantly call good, but at least it did feel nutritious. As reciting a prayer, I repeatedly tried to convince myself that I was emptied the bowl and was given. Oof. Thank you for the meal.
You're welcome.
So I finally eaten something from Yasumizu. Did that mean I was a true local now? Or Yamabito? Whatever. As long as I could go back to square one, I would explore all the options I had available. Rhythmic cutting sounds were reaching my ears. As Kiori-san began preparing food in the kitchen, I did the work assigned to me. I had to repair numerous cracked and broken dishes they had here. Apparently, they couldn't afford anything new, so they opted to take what was thrown out in Kamafujiyoshi and repair it into something new. Was there no end to how pitiful things were here? The broken plates and cups were all warped in old newspaper, and I had to do was unwrap them and put them back together. It was actually kind of fun, sort of like a jigsaw puzzle, but man, there were a lot of them. I'd have to do this for entire boxes of full broken tableware. I did wonder whether they actually needed so much, but apparently they just barely had enough, so they wanted to have some spares. I used some all-purpose glue from a 100-yen shop they brought from a nearby town. Kaori-san laughed about it, saying,
"We get far more value out of this than a 100-yen bowl."
And I just about cried. It was a strange mix of modern frugality and the poverty of ancient times, and it exemplified just how weird Yasumizu really was. As I worked, I realized that many of the plates and cups had a familiar symbol on them. "What kind of mark is this?" I asked Kaori-san over the counter.
"Oh, that's the crest of the watering hole family."
The Higuchi. I was about to mention the name, but then I realized that Kaori-san probably didn't have good memories of them. I heard that examining these crests helped understand the lineages and the like, but I had no idea. I had no knowledge necessary for this. Do the other head families have crests too?
Yes, I like the Nasato one. It's cute.
Cute? From what I recall, the Nasato family was the crow. Did it have a bird on it or something? Yumatsu was the spider, Nasato was the crow, and Higuchi was the monkey, and Meguruma was the snake. They worshipped the mountain and these guardians. It was significant not only for Fujiyoshi's culture, but the feast of the Yomi Purge as well. If memory served, Kemi had told me last time that whether you had a guardian or not was relayed by a mark of blood on your skin. Walking up to find blood on your body was something straight out of a horror movie. Didn't the wolves and Haruchan say it was done through dreams? If that was true, I'd be at a loss. It'd be an actual supernatural phenomena. Still, were wolves and humans informed differently? This was something I'd have to look into starting tomorrow. Where can I see the other crests?
You can probably find the Nasatos in the Nasato mansion, but the others? Oh, the accessory on Yuimatsu-san's chest is based on her crest.
That thing, huh? I had thought it was kind of weird looking. I'll try looking for them. I wouldn't want to disrespect them out of ignorance.
You might be right. I'll tell you if I find something.
Please do. I continued working as we talked. There was a small, ancient TV here. Apparently, you could get public broadcasting here, but not much else. That was probably enough for everyone to gather here and have dinner while watching something. I was told that all the dorm rooms had TVs too. That had to be another way they pampered the children who'd eventually leave this place. It strongly demonstrated how much of an exception the dorm was for Yasumizu.
My eldest lives in the dorm and always tells me about what happened in yesterday's shows. We can only turn this on at night, you see.
Normally, giving TVs to the youngest generations would be a sign of luxury, but it was the other way around here. The children went to school in Kamafujiyoshi, but they never went anywhere beyond that and just went straight home, and Kamafujiyoshi was secluded to begin with. That was why they prioritized giving TVs to the children, to let them know what was happening outside the village and to help them learn modern Japanese culture. Apparently, they also covered their electricity and gas bills. They had to be frugal, but they didn't mind supporting the children's access to TV. Kemi was the first Yasumizu child to make it to college, and Yasunaga-kun was expecting to follow her footsteps. Basically, they thought that if they supported the young ones and helped them become prominent figures in society, the money they'd send back would take life easier for those who stayed here. Or make life easier for those who stay here.
Honestly, I hope Yasunaga is able to live freely, unhindered by his roots here. As you can see, my second son has some flaws, so I have to keep him close. But my eldest is, if you don't mind me bragging, simply excellent. My late husband was clever too, but had an intense nature, and it seems like those two qualities were split between my sons. I do feel guilty for that I couldn't give birth to two clever boys. Birthing the second was so difficult that both of us almost died. Did he come out like that because I tried too hard at the time?
Kaori-san was pretty talkative about this. I knew I was a stranger and she had to introduce Yasumizu to me, but this was a bit too much if you ask me. That was probably a sign of just how helpless she felt right now. Maybe Takumi-san should just prove to her and lighten the Oribe's burden. Marrying a widow with his sons in the middle of high school was difficult, and I could only assume that was his main issue. Feeling a bit conflicted, I glanced at the cheap alarm clock on the TV. It was 3 p.m. Any minute now. Yeah, it is. Okay.
We're back? We're back, huh? I don't know this guy.
There, the high schoolers were back.
Welcome back. This is Fujiyashi-san. He suddenly moved here to Yasumizu.
Let's get along. Now this is as expected. I'm Yasunaga Oribe. Kaori-san's son, right? She told me about you. What did you tell him exactly?
Get along with my good-for-nothing son.
Oh, bad. Oh, this is Chikabochi Kamashita, and that's Haru Mikoshiba.
Call me Mochi. Give me your life.
Nope.
Hey, Mochi, what's that? Is he one of those cool guys? He scares me.
Yasun probably has a better face and personality than him.
Can we win against him?
Sure he can.
I challenge you to a duel. What?
Wait, I'm your opponent here.
Alright, let's go. Which one of us can go the longest without pissing?
You cur. You know I'm trying my hardest to hold it in.
I'm at my limit too, actually.
The one who pisses his pants first is the winner.
Alright. Wait. No, this isn't.
Just go already. Oh dear.
We both had a forfeit. You two sure get along.
The bond of pissmen.
Yeah. Wait, no. Again, this is Haru-chan. Again, this is Haru-chan.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you have a nice fashion sense.
Got a problem with it? I got all the 100 yen shop at Kachikahara at the end of last year.
That was just sad. It was something I'd expect from an elementary schooler. No, it's good. Again, let's get along.
Nichan, he's trying to flirt with me. I'm just kidding. This really is just the fucking horny loop. Jesus Christ.
Anime bullshit, I swear to God. I really don't think he is. Man, Haru-chan was distrustful of me even without the misunderstandings regarding Kemi and I. Perhaps there really were people you just couldn't get along with. How sad. Oh, you fixed so many bowls and cups. We were supposed to do that. Sorry to trouble you with it. It's fine. I had fun. Still plenty left.
Yasunaga, leave him be and go review your lessons.
Alright. I've got to go to the dorm then.
Let's have our duel another time, piss man.
Then I'll be going now.
The high schoolers left.
Have you met everyone here in Yasumizu by this point?
I guess so.
There was one exception, though. Oh, sorry, that was a bit of a rude response. 1, 2, 3, journalists included, I'm at 14.
Uh-huh. 1, 2, oh. But if we don't include you, there should be 15.
Suddenly, as if rehearsed, the final person appeared.
Ah, perfect timing. This is the old man of Yasumizu.
No one knew his name, did they?
Hello.
Like always, it was hard to tell whether he was listening or not. I'll be living here from now on. Pleasure to meet you.
Coming!
There it was, his shtick. Huh? What? He beckoned me closer. I carefully brought my ear to his mouth. Sway back.
The wolf has come back!
Oh, you surprised me. I evaded the potential damage to my eardrums.
Ah.
I had no idea what he was thinking, but he was grinning.
I'm hungry.
Please wait. I'll make you onigiri.
This might have actually been the first time I saw him properly communicate with someone. Okay. All right, here's a guess. This old man who cried wolf is also a looper who looped in the past. And now he saw me yank away from him, and he's like, okay, you knew what I was about to do. All right, let's do this. Which is why when they were going to hang him, he said, all right, let me just gather my things first. He probably wanted to gather like a whole bunch of shit from the last time he was doing this to be like, hey, see, I was the one who... Once given the onigiri, he quickly munched it all up, leaving a big mess, and just staggered out. According to Kaori-san, he'd always been a part of the whole Yasumizu package. He seemed to have something wrong with his head, and tended to cause trouble here. Always a part, eh? Would it be wrong to assume he'd experienced something that made him go insane? At the very least, his catchphrase about wolves coming gave me that impression. He'd experienced the feast once, and the fear made the boy who cried wolf become the old man who cried wolf. Perhaps he'd even seen that thing. I'd love to hear what he had to say, but that seemed difficult.
Is everyone okay?
Seems so. I was glad to have heard so much from Kaori-san, but I would have liked to talk to the young ones more. Kemi, too. Was it possible for me to forge a proper relationship with her starting tomorrow?
Let's rest until 6 p.m. With you here, everything was taken care of so quickly. You're a great help.
Oh, it was nothing. After helping with dinner preparation, I was mostly done for the day, so I was free to take a breather. It was almost 5 p.m. I hadn't been keeping track of time on the previous loop, but the mist had to appear soon. Needless to say, I was slightly tense. Not having anything better to do, I went outside. I looked up at the sky. I raised my eyes to the sky and beheld. The evening sun bathed everything in a red hue. This was probably the last time I'd see the mountain at this distance. No, this time I would survive until the mist cleared. Then I would look at this with one dear to me and leave this place for good. As I gathered my resolve.
8. The donut bologna rice snows in the mountain.
I suddenly heard an off-key singing voice completely deflated the tension of the scene. Oh. I could see Miko running through the plaza. She clearly noticed me. Yumatsu-san was right behind her.
Fushiyaki-san.
That wasn't my name. Haruki.
Fusashi-san. You worked hard, I presume.
I'm still shining with energy.
How reliable. I am going to look at the field downhill before dinner time comes.
Oh, just like last time, huh? It'd been busy fixing my bike here, so I hadn't even noticed him go down. Is the field downhill?
Yes, though it is more of a graveyard.
Grave? Is there anything significant? Oh, that aside, your clothes are a bit Buddhist, aren't they? Are you giving a memorial service or something?
Yes. The Uematsus were also responsible for funeral rites. Our faith might have some roots in Buddhism as the rest of that duty, as a result of that duty.
So Mamma Mia-san was right. Bedroom woman servants, was it? Perhaps they protected not only dreams, but also eternal sleep, the peace of the dead.
Though, as our blood became less pure, we became unable to fulfill these duties, so we left them to the Miguruma. Despite that, after moving here to Yasumizu, you hold service for the local graves, huh? That is my intention, yes. But this time, what? I have become a bit worried. She looked down the direction of Saranaga again. Perhaps she could feel the coming of the mist with her skin. I heard that sensitive people could sense incoming weather changes by differences in pressure and humidity alone. Will something happen? No. I think it's probably merely my imagination. Yurimatsu-san leaned on the pillow supporting the well's roof. Apparently, she decided against going to the field. Realizing this, Miko started playing around. Kids sure are a bundle of energy, huh? Indeed. Everyone was afraid of her because she came through Saranaga, but she turned out to be an energetic child. Truly a relief. I wonder what happened to her. Perhaps she was doing her hardest to run away from a forced suicide in the mountains. That seemed likely. Takumi-san had mentioned last time that lots of suicidal people gathered here. But why did he... I was about to ask why she was the one to take care of her, but then I remembered something. She took in the corruption. That was one of the roles she was expected to fill. It felt wrong of me, but I didn't know what actually was a problem with. Miko's parents? The locals who treated her like filth? Or perhaps the customs and superstitions that caused it?
9. One whole birthday cow to find. 10. The kissed mice sway again.
That's a unique song. I heard it during a broadcast in Kamafujiyoshi. I'd actually heard it here in the last loop, but whatever. It's an old song about the teachings of Great Lord Shinai-sama, the incarnation of this mountain that keeps us alive. Shinai-san's guardians are 1. Snake, 2. Monkey, 3. Crow, 4. Spider. She began singing out of nowhere. 5. Prepare for the feast when the evening mists arrive. 6. The badger runs along late with ne'er as a fix. Her clear voice vanished into the wind passing this empty plaza. However, I could hear it very well. 7. The corrupted Yamabito rise to oppose the mountain. The tone of the song changed suddenly. 8. Death of the damned Yamabito is the mandate. Her singing now brought out feelings of unease. 9. One soul per day, now to bind. 10. The mists rise away again. An ice-cold voice cut her off. I looked at the source, and a chill went down my spine. It was Kemi, covered in the red of the evening, as well as the red of blood. Her whole body was covered in blood. You were working hard, I see. Oh, I was. Huh? Serizawa-san, what happened? Oh, sorry. I guess making such a dramatic entrance while looking like this is a bit scary, huh? She gave me a broad grin. I believe she has to dismantle Wild Game. Yep. Kanzo-ji-chan got a big one this morning. The muscles and bones and things on this were huge. Oh yeah, Takumi-san had told her to help Kanzo-san. Well, you know how to butcher wild game? It's easy when you get used to it. Your clothes are a mess now, though. You sure that's not a problem? I didn't mean for this to happen. My hand slipped a bit. Well, I have another set of these clothes, so that ain't a problem. She laughed and made her look even scarier. You can still call me Kemi, by the way. Drop the fancy talk, too. Oh. What was that, Rikaku-san? No. It clearly was. Alright, Kemi-chan. You can call me just Haruki, too. Talk to me like I'm a friend. Oh, really? Alright, Haruki-san. Want to get to know each other over some food? Oh. By the way, are we getting some of that game meat for dinner? Of course. We're in for some good eating. Woohoo! Isn't that great, Yurimatsu-san? What? Please. Oh, she now that she thinks that she has competition, now she's like, no, now call me by my name. Please call me Rikako. Rikako-san? Oh. What kind of response was that? What is it? Aurora Borealis. At this time of year in this location? I thought we're having mist. Haruhara.
Haraki-sama.
She was about to call me by some weird name, but she somehow managed to actually get my real one right. Problem being that she still called out to me, but didn't actually have anything to say. Oh boy.
And what?
Oh, and what's your problem, Kemi-san?
Haruki-san, wanna come watch me butcher game? You'll see me cut some meat with a huge hunting knife. Sploosh, sploosh.
Whoa, that kind of invitation would have weirded out anyone normal. But me, I was actually intrigued.
Haraki-sama,
Yes?
shall we go there?
Where?
The graveyard.
An invitation even freakier than the previous one. It felt like she'd take me straight to the land of the dead. So that was interesting in its own way.
Huh? What exactly are you gonna do there, Rikaku-san? What of you, Serizawa-sama? Are you aware how absurd it is to show him a feast of blood? Even if it is for Yasumizu, blood is linked to the corruption. Rikaku-san, you do know that lewdness is also dirty, right? Whatever are you imagining? I was not thinking of anything of the sort. Really? You do seem like a real closet pervert to me. So this story was doing perfectly fine. Like the little bit between me and Kemi earlier was like felt very like unnatural. But now we're just getting into like weird anime bullshit. Like now this is just anime tropes. And whatever. Really? You seem like a real closet pervert to me. Hi. Don't worry, all men love lewd women. True, yeah, yes. Beaming. Too bad though. I have even more lewder power than you. Lewd power? Oh, come on. Can we cut some of the anime shit out of this, please? We were doing really good until now. We were doing really good. What? No fair.
What the hell are you two talking about?
Fushiaki-san, you are popular. What? Miko, whatever do you? Oh, you're out of the race? Guess I have him then.
You will? That's too good to be true.
You're my type. If you're gonna live here, then I guess I'll have something to look forward to when coming back home.
So I had a chance with Kemi in this route too.
Oh, then I shall have many chances while you are away. What? Not happening.
And with Rikaku-san too. Miko-chan, let's have a race.
Yay!
I ran around her like I was a kid her own age again. As much as I enjoyed them having a cat fight over me, I knew that we were almost out of time. The dense mist began flowing into the plaza. No way. My tone was a bit forced, but no one paid any heed.
Bah. The mists are here?
Kemi's loud voice flung everyone to a frenzied panic. Ba-chan's in the house. What about the old man? I ain't that old.
No, not the mists.
Gee, take the brats to the dorm.
Yeah, Haruki-san. I'll lead him. Alright, please do. Haruki-san, this is Yasumizu's mist. Please do whatever she tells you, even if it sounds stupid.
Alright.
Oh, so this is the mist? I guess we should count ourselves lucky then. We got places to stay.
It's probably bad for our equipment.
This is serious. So I'm glad you have rooms. Please run to them immediately. Mamiya-san, you're with us. Cameraman, you.
I'll take him. The prefab, right? Come with me and don't fall. No need to rush. I couldn't help but worry.
Coming! Coming! The wolf is coming!
At the edge of my fading vision, I saw the old man mutter that and walk off.
Miko, Haruki-sama. Looks like it was not just my imagination.
We have to lock up in our houses now, right?
Cleanse, shelter, dream. That is how you prepare for the feast. Please don't forget to do them. Wash my body, lock their door and sleep? Yes, you will not get to eat until tomorrow, so please be patient. Okay, got it. If they obey the laws, no one will die today.
What do you mean?
Today, we prepare for the feast. Those who do not are punished by our great Lord Shanai. Please, go.
Rikaku-san took Miko by the hands and took a step back. That alone made her face less clear. Please prepare. I wish to see you again tomorrow. I will. I shouted that right before her face vanished. She clearly liked me, so much that she was almost crying. She probably assumed I wouldn't believe her and thought I'd be a pile of gore tomorrow. Not a chance. I knew how serious this was and understood the depths of their fear and desperation. And on top of it all, I wanted to help them. I wanted to reassure them by making that all too clear. I made my way carefully downhill to my hut. Unlock, enter, lock. Oh man, I felt so much safer than last time. After all, I could actually locked up and had a decently sized space that was protected from the mist and had a nice place to lie down. I made it this far. That alone was a strong sign that I was doing way better than before. I turned on the light. I actually had electricity here. Well, I had it in the dorm room last time, and all that was really cut was the telephone wires to the dining hall. Weird to think that this mist and severed phone wires were enough to create a closed circle like this one. Even weirder, that I actually came back here of my own volition. Well, we literally were forced to. I reached into the bag at the corner of the room and opened the yellow box of food. I was probably unfair to everyone else, but I needed the energy, and I had a hell of a time tomorrow. After my half-assed excuse for dinner, I took the wet towel from the pail and washed my body. I then checked if the door was really locked. All that was left was to spread out in the futon and sleep. Could I, though? After all, I had so many things on my mind. First, the things I'd learned today. I found that I could change how things went down. This time, I somehow succeeded in becoming an inhabitant here and saved the journalists. I had no idea if this would make things better than last time, but it was clear things were different. That alone was big. Had to be. Place of power. Gotta be. Has to be. Also, I had a feeling there was at least one Yasumizu inhabitant who'd experienced the feast before. This wasn't that new, but now I felt like the elders weren't only suspects. Takumi-san could have experienced one too. Tomorrow, I could probably ask if there was a mist before, and I could actually make it sound natural. The settlement's history was as deserving as an investigation as its customs and superstitions. And Rikaku Uematsu. She might have actually been way weirder than I first thought. She fell often and went nuts when you just called her by name. Despite her weirdness, though, there was a certain charm to her. She was kind of like a fancy-looking restaurant that you were afraid to get into. But when you mustered the courage, it turned out to be unexpectedly cheap and sold simple. Yet nice flavors, making it really attached to it. But, objectively speaking, it felt like she was actually attached to me. But why? Did our first meeting leave that much of an impression? Not that I minded the attention, but this seemed a bit too good to be true. Whatever the case, I formed a bond that I clearly didn't expect last time. That I certainly didn't expect last time. Assuming I solved this whole mystery, what would I do next? Following through on my lie and actually living here would upset too many parties, so that was a no. And if I left here someday, what would become of my relationships? Rikaku-san didn't look like she'd ever leave this place. Well, what about Kemi? Why was I counting my chickens before they hatched anyway? I did appreciate that Kemi actually liked me this time too. There wasn't much help to her last loop, but I was kind of fixated on saving her this one. But there was another way to look at this. That was a feeling born of a trip through hell with her last time, standing by her until the end. But the Kemi from back then wasn't the same as the Kemi from this loop. Any feelings I had from the previous Kemi was nothing to do with this one. There was nothing more hollow than chasing after unrequited feelings, right? I had enough of thinking about that, and it just made me feel empty inside. Time to review more important things, like the previous roles. Takumi Mura was the snake. Chikamochi, Kamoshida, and Miko were the monkeys. Yasunaga Orabe and Tai Yamikawa were the wolves. And those were the only clear ones. For now, for the rest, since the spider was supposed to protect the snake, Takumi-san, who died on the second day, it was safe to assume it was someone who died on the first. That was either Kanzo Makishima or Yogitsu Oribe, and I was pretty sure it was the former. I had no guess for the crow, though. That guardian didn't really get a turn in the spotlight last time. There was only one standard lynching, After all, the fact that they were that there were far more abnormal deaths. Although I had no idea if those were or were not coveted by the crow's power, to tell if the lynched victim was a wolf or not. If they were, the power of the crow was waiting for the chance to come out, but all who died were humans, and eventually they were out of the game. Or maybe it was someone who didn't make good use of the power at all. Assuming Kanzo-san was a spider, and I had 7 suspects for the crow, Yoshigitsu Orbe, Haru Makishima, Kemi Sarazawa, Rikaku Uematsu, Kinosuke Nasato, Kaori Orbe, and the old wolf guy. First, Yoshigitsu-kun, honestly, I felt like he'd revealed himself as the owner of a garden way before Takumi-san would. He was reckless and impulsive after all. Kinosuke seemed like the type to proudly reveal that he had the crow. It was his family's guardian and beast after all. Or maybe he was using it to gather information on his own, and he could pull out a bunch of his own deductions at once. No, he wasn't that stupid, surely. Also, he was given free reign until the wolves got him on the final day. He'd have ample time to do something. Then, Haru Makishima. She betrayed the humans and sided with the wolves, despite the fact it wouldn't save her life. Needless to say, that seemed insane. The great Lord Shinai came to her in a dream and told her the truth? What the hell? Who'd die for that? Was there some other way to create such madness? A method to create a murderer? Was there anything besides what Yasunaka-kun mentioned? I had no idea. But if there was, I really didn't think anyone with a guardian would fall a victim to it. If Kemi was the crow, I would hope she'd have confided in me about it. Kaori Orbe, I had no idea. She'd been the only one killed the conventional way last time, but was never really given the chance to speak up. Even if she was, it's possible she'd chosen to keep silent and focus on killing everyone for her son. She ended up trying to become a shield for him. The old wolf guy made no sense at all. If he'd gotten a guardian, it would have likely just gone to waste. Finally, Rikaku-san had no idea what to expect from her. She was only descended of the Uematsu family and their current head, so perhaps she knew some secrets known only to the head families. I need to get a little bit of water before I continue. However, from what I observed of her today, it really did seem like she just had a bad feeling come to check. I didn't know how intelligent she was either. She did seem to have a good intuition, but she was also a bit of a klutz. There was also the fact she'd been eliminated from the previous game due to some kind of strange corruption. Maybe she didn't have a chance to reveal that she possessed a guardian. That meant that the most likely candidates for the crow were Rikaku-san, Kaori-san, and the old wolf guy. What was most important here, though, was that if those guardians would be the exact same as last time. Yeah, because there's 3 new people. One of us could be the guardian. And by one of us, I mean me and the 2 the news people could be it. Or maybe that could also be a fun one, right? It could be something as in the game knew one of us was always supposed to be one. And so technically one of us was in the failed game before, and that's why no one showed up, because it's actually supposed to be one of us, because the loop knew eventually I would fix it. Who knows? If everything is different from the last time, then we really do have a big issue, because now we're just kind of like floating in the wind. Unless we have to learn it the second time with the 3 new people, and then after that it's going to be the same, but who knows? If they were, I'd have this feast in the bag. If, to use an extreme example, I went and silently took out Yasunaga-kun and Tei-san, I'd probably fall victim to the corruption, but the human side would win. Of course, the participants would be different this time, so I wasn't guaranteed we'd get the same guardians. But if Great Lord Shinai would have picked them had some sort of qualifications for us chosen, the addition for outsiders would change nothing. Or, worst case scenario,
you get dinged as a wolf. And you're like, uh-oh. On the other hand, if our participation could change the guardian assignments, was it random? Or was there some kind of pattern? However, if your character was chosen as a wolf, you would know the other wolf, and you would be able to just out the other wolf and say, all right, out the other wolf, or kill the other wolf, and then you get killed by the corruption and everyone's safe. Was it random? Or was there some kind of pattern? Whichever it was, it would mean that there was no higher will or intent on giving guardians to specific people. Whatever the case, it would help getting closer to the truth behind the feast. If I found out the rules behind the guardian's distribution, I could probably win without trying to read people's minds. The only problem was my whole looping thing. Nobody would believe me if I told them. I couldn't blame them. If I went and said, this is how it was last time, so you're the wolf this time, everyone would think I was nuts. I had to look at this as nothing but a source of extra info to use to my advantage. And of course, I couldn't sleep. What would happen to me if I spent the whole night awake? Was someone watching me? Did they know I wasn't sleeping? Would they come to kill me? That line of thinking made me feel as if I was being watched. What about the locals? They already had the mists and the feast to fear. Could they be sleeping soundly? I know the old story said that they should be able to, but... Nichan, make me happy too. There was something wrong with the people of Yasumizu. They were normal in regular circumstances, no total idiots anywhere, and not all of them seemed like the sort of those to lose themselves in superstitious ramblings. However, certain situations seemed to act as a trigger, turning them completely irrational. The absolute, extreme fear of the mist. The complete submission to the real story. The lack of aversion towards hanging people. Was that all part of the feast? If so, what kind of psychological systems were at work here? I couldn't understand. Things I couldn't understand scare me. Was that a limit to the extent I couldn't comprehend? What if I was just a huge, never-ending downward spiral of irrationality? If that was the case, it would be pretty damn scary. Huh? What? Ding. And it's the next day. And you know what else it is? It's the end of the stream. It's the end of the stream. That's what that is. Boom. Okay. So, yeah. That was Raging Loop for the day. I am not only getting parched voice, I am also very, very hungry since I have not eaten since 9 a.m. And I would really like to have some food. So, I'm going to be ending the stream for the day. I will be back again tomorrow at the same normal time, starting at 7, so right about now, with Chrono Trigger. I will stream more Raging Loop, possibly every Sunday, and of course, maybe at some other random times during the week as well. But yep, that was Raging Loop. We ended up going all the way to the beginning of the first day, where we get to set up more of the story, but this is a good spot to end, to leave everybody on a cliffhanger that's not really a cliffhanger. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and yeah, I'll see you all tomorrow for Chrono Trigger. Have a good night, everybody.